Okay, so after completing RDD, so the next step comes is data frame. Okay, so what is data frame, or to be precise, what is Spark data frame? As the name itself suggests, data frame. If you have seen, like in your house, there will be some frames which are kept hanging on the wall. Okay, it's a piece of like square or a rectangle or similar to that. Okay, so it is a frame. Okay, what it says is, it says it is a frame of data. That's what it says to us. What it says, it's a frame of data, and that frame is in the form of 2D, that is like rows and columns. Okay, so what is data frame as per the definition? Okay, so data frame is a distributed collection of data organized into named columns. And what are these named columns? Whatever the column names could be. Okay, it is conceptually equivalent equivalent, okay, to a table in your RDBM, as you can say. We know, like as we come from the relational, or maybe like whenever we have started the studies, so Oracle was like the table structure of those two famous tables of employee and table we have already seen. So we always remember those things, and like we are more accustomed to the structure processing of the data. So how that is like, so let's, if we take just, so it's like just similar to just a small diagram which I want to make you understand, which you already know. So what will happen, so this, so let's say this is first row, this is second row, and this is third row, and whatever the data will be there. So let's say this is one column, this is second column, and this is third and fourth. So just to consider, let's say this is C1 column, this is C2, this is C3, and this is C4. Okay, if you remember yesterday when we were trying to solve RDD's small use case, okay, what was happening in that, the data was not able to shown on the screen, or maybe like the console, in a proper format. It was showing either in the form of data structures like tuple or a list, or maybe a string. But what if like we needed to see in a structure format? That's where your data frame comes into picture, resembling your data in the form of rows and columns. That's what the definition says. Data frame is a distributed collection of data. So we know like what is distributed collection of data, because we have seen Hadoop 2.x architecture, and also we have seen Spark architecture. So in Spark architecture, how the data is processed, it is processed in a distributed manner. And where the data is processed, on the executors, and where these executors are available, on the worker nodes, right? So that's where like it is saying distributed collection of data. Now let's take an example. Now when this data frame appeared, even when Spark 1.x came into picture, okay, so we had RDDs. So data frame appeared in Spark from the version, or in Spark release, that is 1.3.0. So from 1.3.0 we were able to perform like structure, whatever, like structure based data or data frame, we were able to see that because they released that in that. Okay, so data frame appeared in the Spark release 1.3.0. The idea behind data frame is, again, processing of large amount of structured data which will be consisting rows with schema. So data frame consists data with schema, I can say. If you remember yesterday I told you there will be some differentiation between RDDs and data frames. Maybe today we'll try to see that. Just to give a small hint, so, and again it's not a hint, it's a pointer. So RDDs are schemaless, whereas data frame have schema. That is one of the differentiation between the two. Okay, so that's why I've written data frame consists data with schema. We'll see slowly and steadily. We'll go nice and deep in these data frame concepts. Okay, similar to your RDD. Okay, similar to your RDD, data frames are also immutable in nature. We know like what is immutable, which is not changeable. Okay, transformations are lazily evaluated. So we have, sorry, or let's say it is lazily, whatever transformations are lazily evaluated, we'll not write that. And let's say the data is processed in memory, because data frame, where the data frame will be processing, okay, it will be processing in memory. Okay, and it gives the flexibility, and it gives flexibility of distributed computing. Okay, that's what it says to us. Okay, then it allows the, so also let's say if we are reading a file and it has 10 columns, and let's say that file format is .csv, so in that all the columns will be of type string, right? Because text files or .csv files do not have type on that, data type on that, to be precise, whenever I say type. Okay, so what you can do is, as a user, we can impose the structure, okay, on this data frame. It means that we can create our own schema or own structure. Like let's say the first column will be of type this and the column name would be this. So we can define our own structure on top of that file. Okay, that's what the point says. And finally, we can like build the data frames from various sources, like how we can create RDDs. So RDDs can be created from parallelized collection. The second was like from external data sources, and the third from existing data sources. Okay, sorry, existing RDDs. When it comes to data frame, they also follow the same approach. So they can be built from anywhere. Like we can build from databases, we can build from external sources like flat files, XML, JSON. We'll see all those things. And as it is immutable, so once we read the file or once we create one data frame, from one data frame we can create another data frame also. Okay, so that's what we can do with the definition of data frame. Okay, so data frame is a distributed collection of data organized into named columns. Okay, it is conceptually similar to your RDBMS table, which you can think of. Okay, so it was released in 1.30. So data frame was released in 1.3.0. Data frame consists data with schema. Okay, they are immutable, in memory, and flexible of distributed computing, and we can impose the structure. So few definition or few pointers I have explained, and this is how your structure would look like when you read the data from anywhere in your Spark if you are creating a data frame. So it will have rows, okay, and finally it will have columns. Okay, so it will have a 2D structure, rows and columns, which we all know. Okay, now let's understand what are some limitations of RDDs, resilient distributed data set, because there has to be some limitation. That's why like Spark inventors or the community started working on it, and they came up with a new version with a new methodology that is nothing but a data frame. Okay, so let's understand few pointers. If a question is asked, we can defend in interviews. So the first one is, it does not have any built-in optimization engine. Okay, so RDDs does not have inbuilt optimization, whereas data frame has inbuilt optimization. Can someone say me what this point says to me in your Spark architecture, which I have explained last week or maybe before that? I have clearly explained the architecture, and if you remember, when a user submits the application code, what happens in the Spark architecture?
The first request goes to the driver.
Okay, so when it goes to the driver program, so what goes to your driver program? Safe goes to your driver program.
Now, whatever the code is there,
Yeah, so you'll have to
whatever,
use
yeah.
those terminologies, right? Because here, that's where we are here to learn. Okay, so don't take it personally. Sometimes I might be very pinpoint, and sometimes I will try to be sharp, but there is no reason to demotivate or degrade. It's just like we are learning, because the sooner we get in habit to say those jargons and terminologies, it will be beneficial for the future ahead. Okay, so let's come back. Yeah, go ahead, Irfan. Bolo bhai. Whatever you say, we'll try to correct you.
That's what I'm just getting only. I'm not getting
Okay,
that.
okay, no issues, chalega, no issues. Okay, so we do not remember the Spark architecture after that. So what about others? It's so Irfan has just given some one pointer. Okay, that is accepted. But what about that's the only architecture we have seen? So what do you mean by this point? Built-in optimization. So RDD does not give, but data frame gives. But again, this built-in optimization, it is there in your Spark architecture. That is for data frame. So how?
So,
It
sir,
start creating
when we
DAG.
submit our
So
application to driver program,
okay. So when a user submits an application code to the driver program, okay. So
so
what is there in that application
uh,
code? Spark
uh,
context or a Spark session, right?
yes, Spark
Yes.
session,
Yeah.
and there is a DAG is created, which
DAG
consists
is
of
created. Okay.
yeah, which consists of various logical plans
No,
and
wait. Yeah. So when a user submits an application code to your driver program, okay, so which will have a Spark context or a Spark session, right? And
yes,
and again in that application code which user has submitted, let me take a diagram and let's recall quickly. I'll not invest much time. So let's take this is a code which a user has written. Okay, so the user has written some code. Let's say he has written Spark context. Okay, so you know this, that's why I'm trying to write this. So let's say he has written text file, let's say he has written filter, he has written group by, and finally he's written a call function that is save as text file, which you know. Okay. Okay, so as Hussein is saying, what he is saying is, let me take this so that I can quickly draw diagrams. So when this is submitted or this code gets executed, okay, so what happens in the driver program? Okay, so this is, let's say I'll write shortcuts. So in the driver program, either my Spark context or Spark session will act as a driver program, right? Okay, then what Hussein said is based, okay, go ahead please.
based on this application.
Your voice is low.
On this Spark context or Spark session, directed acyclic graph is created.
Okay, so he is telling a DAG is created. Okay, what else?
Okay, and this consists of various logical and physical plans
Okay,
of how the
it contains unresolved logical plans, right? Yes, no. So does it contains or not unresolved logical plans?
So if we are not able to hear you.
Because I'm not saying anything.
Okay. So after that, I just recall
No.
it
What
up.
I asked the question is, does it contains unresolved logic? See, when I'm asking question, no one is answering. It
Yeah.
means like when I'm trying to explain, people are not responding. Means I should get a feel that okay, whether my messages are conveyed or not. Otherwise, I'll keep moving, and again, you won't understand, and then I won't get that feel that okay, whether people are able to understand or not. So when I'm asking the question, so we have to respond either yes or no, right? So again, like
Yes, sir.
When
Yeah.
Hussein is going forward again, like Hussein, you should have told like okay, when I'm asking you a question, so you should reply.
Yes.
because we are in the conversation and the others are listening, right? But again, it's others' responsibility also, because we have seen this architecture, right? It's not that nothing new we am explaining,
Sorry.
right? Okay, no issues. Chalo, let's go ahead.
Okay.
So the meaning which I was trying to relate was built-in optimization. Okay, I'll take it. Let it be. Thanks, Hussein and Irfan. Thanks for your inputs. Okay. Now, what I meant to say was, okay,
Seth,
so yeah,
Saurabh here.
yeah,
Actually, it tries to convert this
yeah.
logic
I'll take it.
plan
I'll take
into
it ahead.
physical
I'll take
plan.
it ahead. Thanks, Saurabh. I'll take it ahead
Okay, okay.
because it is investing my time unnecessarily, and we will be left behind with topics uncovered. Okay,
Okay.
so what I was trying to say is the built-in optimization. Okay, so now RDDs does not provide built-in optimization, whereas data frame provides, but it's there in the architecture. Okay, so when a user submits an application code, okay, which has a Spark context or a Spark session, that initiates a driver program. Okay, so by looking at this driver program, okay, a DAG is created. Definitely, as Hussein said, it will be containing a unresolved logical plan. Okay, but how this is created based on the transformations and actions which you have used in your user application code. Because today I will be explaining you that practically with a web UI. And Hussein asked, like, if you remember, Hussein, you asked me one question. If like if I read one file, how many stages will be created? If I read one more file, how many stages would be created? If you recall that question, I think it was yours only, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see that maybe like once we move ahead. Okay, so it contains transfer. So this unresolved logical plan is converted to a physical execution plan. So that's where your internal optimization takes place. So whenever you have a data frame, it will have an internal optimization, but when it comes to RDD, it will not have that. So that was the point which I was trying to explain. Okay, second thing, there is no provision to handle structured data. Okay, so we cannot handle structured data in like RDDs. Okay, yes, we can handle semi-structured, unstructured, but when I talking about structured data in the form of like tabular format, like which we are used to, then as I said a little earlier, it does not have schema. We need to create a schema, okay, on top of that. And finally, what we need to do is, okay, so I think these 3 points, because of these 3 points, the data frames got a invention, okay, and that's how your data frame came into picture. Okay, just to be precise, so what is a data frame? It's a distributed collection of data organized into names and columns. It is conceptually, okay, I'm not saying 100%, it is conceptually equivalent to your RDB image table. It was released in 1.30. It will have a schema and the same features like of your RDDs, that is immutable in-memory processing and distributed computer processing, same it has. And in addition, we can impose the structure. Okay, so that's what we have seen. Now, yeah,
In the limitations, there is no provision to handle unstructured data, right?
we're here.
Yeah. It's structured.
So I'm talking about the limitations of RDD. So in RDD, we can process unstructured, semi-structured, and also structured data. But again, like directly, we cannot process the structured data. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to read the RDD, convert into a data frame, and then do the processing on top of that. So ideally, by this point, it's not that RDDs are not capable of capable of processing structured data. They are capable, but they need to convert into a data frame from RDD. That's why I have written a point. There is no provision to directly, I can say, directly handle the structured data. Got it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. We'll see that how today everything we'll see for how to convert RDDs to data frame. That's where we have learned RDD. Now we are taking a step forward. Okay. Now, can you tell me, even I have explained this in Spark 1.x and in Spark 2.x method. Okay. So if I wanted to create my Spark context, so what I needed to create first?
Spark on.
Beautiful.
SparkConf.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So we needed to create SparkConf, right? So we needed to create a SparkConf object, right? From where? SparkConf class, right? And yesterday someone asked me like, is it sufficient to create your driver application? Yes, it is sufficient. But we provide necessary informations, okay? Like let's say set application name, whatever your application name would be, then set master, right? Then what we try to do, we try to create a Spark context from which class? Spark context class, right? And we try to provide this Spark conf over here, right? And to do this, what we have to do is from PySpark, we need to import Spark context, right? From PySpark, we need to import SparkConf. Then only we will be able to do this, right? Are we clear till here? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. So when it comes to 2.x methods, okay, so from PySpark, import Spark session. Okay, mostly we'll try to do this, but again, I'm just showing both the methods and you can use any method of your choice. So Spark, again, I'm trying to create a Spark object, okay, from where? From a Spark session class. So it has a builder method, okay, and again, it will ask me for some application name, master, okay, so it is asking me for application name, it is asking for master, and it has again one get or create method, okay, so we need to give that. This is how we'll be creating our, so this is either a Spark or a Spark context, and after that you will be having your entire code over here, whatever code you want to build, right? So you will be having like whatever code you want to write, okay? So either you can use your 1.x method or 2.x method. Yes, last time like we had that question also. So when I'm trying to use the latest method, which is a Spark session, will I have Spark context? So yes, we will have Spark context also. So we will have the previous compatibility also with the newer frames or with the newer stuff. Okay, so either you can create your Spark context from 1.x method or you can create from 2.x method. Okay, we will be seeing both the approaches, but again I'm just reiterating and recalling because I see like even like the architecture which I explained, again like that is not getting mesmerized, but again you'll have to invest your time, start revisiting, because this is the right time to start practice, so that again like we have 3 months in hand. So once we go ahead, the previous topics are not erased from your book. Okay, any questions till here?
Sir,
Your voice is low.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.
sir, the method is set app name or set
Yeah,
application.
don't worry. See, this is just I have written, so don't worry about this. So
Okay.
yeah, so this is just I have written, so we'll write appropriately in there. Okay, so here again like you have said, so let me just, okay, we'll do those changes. So I just wanted to show how we can write the code in 1.x and 2.x. I will show in both the method, and moving ahead you can keep in, because once you go into the project, there can be scenarios you will find this, you will find this also, and you will find this also in your one application code, in your one code. That is possible, no issues, it does not affect. You can keep more, it will not affect. But if you keep less, and if it is required, or if it is required in your future program, then again you'll have to import, or somewhere it will get in. So but again, it does not mean that you can keep anything, whatever is not required. Just try to keep whatever is required. But in projects, what we try to do is, we try to, in spite of writing this, what we just say, write star, take everything. But again, it's way of writing codes, again, it matters to you. Okay? So we have just seen a small introduction to a data frame. Okay? A definition wise, nothing else. Okay? So now as we know RDDs, what are RDDs? They are nothing but resilient distributed data sets. So now the first thing we will try to see is how to convert your RDDs to data frame. Okay, so in PySpark we have 2df function. Sorry, I should have written like this. Okay, in PySpark we have a 2df function, okay, which converts your RDD to data frame. Okay, so we need to convert RDD to data frame, as data frame provides more advantages over RDD. That's what we have seen in the limitations of RDD. Okay, so as data frame is distributed collection of data organized into named columns similar to your tables in any relational database management system, and it provides optimization and performance techniques also. So that's why data frames are popularly used, popularly available, and heavily used in your projects. Okay, so we'll try to understand how we can convert your RDDs to data frame. Okay, so let's start doing those small things and understand it well.
Sir,
Yeah,
I have a query around optimization
we will
for
take it ahead. As of now, I have not explained those optimization steps or techniques, but again, you can what is your questions related to that?
You mentioned that in RDBs we don't do any optimization, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But last time we explained that we do pipeline optimization with RDDs.
Pipeline optimization, that is in, see, when I explained the architecture, I did not say that when this pipeline optimization is taking place, whether it is RDD or data frame. Did I said like that in the architecture? Because when I was explaining the architecture, we have not learned RDD also, right, at that moment of time.
Okay. I
So
get it.
yes, there is a pipeline optimization which is taking place, but what it is doing, as Hussein said, when the DAG is, so today we'll see the DAG. So it has like unresolved logical plan based on your transformations and actions. So we know what are transformations and actions, right?
Yes.
So what is transformation?
Uh, Transformation is like converting your data into like reading your data from one particular source and converting it into required source.
So what is one source and other source?
So suppose if I'm reading my data from let's say CSV file row by row, I'm converting into a particular data structure as per my output expected. So I'm transforming my data.
No, I don't means like again like that is 45% equivalent, but again okay, it's too early, but again like I have see transformations, again you need to be precise on your terminology. Start be precising on terminology. See, if you are talking about RDDs or data frame, so transformations, what transformations are doing is they are converting your existing, so as you said rightly for the first statement, okay, when I'm trying to read a file from an external source, okay, it is creating either RDD or data frame. First thing you need to be precise over here.
Okay.
Okay, what is that one source, other source? If you're trying to show experience on your CV, they will not expect what is one source and the other source. Okay, don't take it personally when I'm trying to say
Yep.
individually.
No
Okay,
issues.
so you'll have to be explicit on your jargons and terminologies. That's where it reflects that you are a working employee. If you are trying to mask your CV of a 3 years employee on your Spark Hadoop technology. Okay, let's come back to the state because
Yep.
I keep deviating. Okay, so the transformations. Okay, so as rightly said by Saurabh, when we are trying to read a CSV file, an RDD is created. Let's take an example of RDD because data frame we just started. Okay, so RDD is created. When I'm trying to apply a transformation, okay, on the existing RDD, it is converting to another state or another RDD, which you can say. So it is transforming your RDD. So don't say one source, other source. Okay, got it. Chalo. So now tell me, what are the different types of transformations? So what are the two types of transformations available to you?
A narrow and wide.
Beautiful. So can you just elaborate what is narrow and wide?
If shuffling is not happening, then it is narrow.
ठीक है. Okay. That is one of the point I can say. That is good. But the first and a very important point, which we have seen in RDD with a small diagram, if you remember. So when it comes to narrow transformation, the computation which will be happening will be always available in a single parent RDD, remember?
Yes, yes.
When it comes to a wide transformation, it may or may not live in one partition. Remember group by diagram I explained and the RDD. So that is what. See again, like these steps we have, these things we have taken last week only. Don't try to, just start practicing or start studying. Okay, let's come back because there is a too much deviation. Okay, so I hope like the questions are answered. Okay, no questions as of now, right? We started with Saurabh's question of that pipeline optimization. Okay, so let's understand how to convert. Let's see how to convert RDD to data frame. Okay, so this is just a small program which I am trying to write. Okay, so what you will do, you will try to write from PySpark. I'll try to import. I'll try to import SparkConf, right? After that, from PySpark, what you will try to do, you will try to import Spark context. Okay, you can give comma here also and write Spark context, but just write on newer line so that you get habitual. Okay, we are trying to create a main method. Now, as I shown here, I'm just trying to create these things. Okay, so first I'll show this method and maybe like moving ahead we'll go with the new method. So we'll see both the things. Okay, so we are converting your RDT to data frame. That is the program which we are trying to see. Okay, so we have just imported the package. Okay, now we'll try to create a conf. So let's say I'm trying to create a Spark conf from the Spark conf class. Okay, now if you just press the dot, so you will see all the whatever methods are available. So I'll use application name. So let's say convert RDD to data frame. Okay, then I'll try to set the master. Okay, and the master would be, as of now I'm trying to use all my local resources. Okay, then I'll try to set a I'll try to create a Spark context object from a Spark context class by passing my Spark conf to it. Okay, either you can just give like this, again it is one and same, you are passing the variable value to your variable as I have shown last week. Now here you would be writing your, what you would be writing? You would be writing your code, right? Okay, so when I execute this, what will happen? This code will go to your cluster. Okay, in that it will go to your driver program and then it will start flowing whatever the architecture which I said. So I'm just trying to relate all these things because in interviews they will surely ask you, okay, when you execute your Spark application, what happens in the background? So the architecture which I explained last time and today when I'm trying to explain the DAG, you need to combine those two things and you need to explain that. Then only they will get convinced. Otherwise they won't. Okay? Now, let's go ahead. Okay, so we have created a Spark context. Now, I'll just try to cook some data. I can read the file from external sources also, right? I can create an RDDs via three methods: reading from external CSV file or .txt file or any. Okay, and the second is parallelize method and the third is from existing RDDs. That's what we have seen. So what I'll try to do is I'll just try to define some data. You can cook your own data also. So let's try to cook some data and I'll say department with some variable name. Okay. So here I'm trying to, here I'm trying to create some data and with two columns. Let's say finance and that belongs to department 10. Okay, let me copy this piece. Control C. So I think these three records are sufficient just to showcase, okay, because we will change moving ahead. As of now, let's go with only three records. So I'm just trying to create accounts which belongs to department 20 and finally let's say HR and that belongs to department 30. Okay, so what I have done, I have created a list of some data. Okay, so I have defined some data. After defining, if you want to create your RDD from the Spark context, what you will use? You will try to use the parallelize method, and you will try to pass your whatever you have created. Okay, so if you just hover over it, you will try to get, so what it is getting? It is getting an RDD. Okay, so what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to create an RDD with a parallelize method. And if you just try to say rdd.collect, and if you just try to say print on top of this, and when you execute this small code, you should be able to see the data, right? Okay, so it is telling that, see, now it is telling that, okay, so there is some error in this code. Okay, so again, I know that error, but again, let's see whether there is some good messages. See, that's, you will be getting some issues, you will be getting some errors, so you just need to debug and you just need to keep on solving. Okay, that's how it will go. So first thing is like, I can see some tuple object is not callable, so that I can see some comma is missing. That is the first thing. Second thing, it is telling that could not pass master local something. So again, there are two issues, so I'm missing some. So this is how you'll have to read your logs, and you'll have to fix your issues. Okay, start reading the logs, try to identify, take those error messages, Google it, get the solution and work on it. Okay, don't get panic. Okay, I'm getting issues, post in the WhatsApp. Try to debug yourself, and that's where your habit will grow as a developer to be an independent. Okay, let's come back. So we got the data. Okay, so this is, we have already seen safe. There is nothing new in this. Okay, okay. So the thing is, what we are trying to say now, this is an RDD. Now I need to convert this to a data frame. Okay, so how we will convert to a data frame? As I told earlier, we will use we'll use a 2DF. So simple. What we need to do is, I will say I'm creating a data frame, any variable name or identifier name, and what I am trying to say, rdd dot to df. Okay, and if I just hover over it, okay, why it is not converting, why it is giving me an any? So this is giving me an RDD. Okay, let's see the data, and then hopefully we should be able to, let's say data frame dot print schema and data frame dot show method. I think there is some issue. Let's see. Okay, so if you see, actually I recognized it earlier little, but if you see this rdd.2df, that 2df method was not recognizable and it was giving me an issue. So that looks a little strange to me, because
Seth, it should be import spark.implicit.
spark.implicits, actually that is Spark Scala.
Okay.
So we do not require that Spark implicits over here. Okay, so we can straight away go ahead and start writing this. That's what I see. But again, like the issue is like, okay, straight. So this is my RDD. When I'm trying to so it is not giving me any 2DF method. The code is like, okay, so I'm trying to do parallelize method. Okay, so that is correct. So this is, even I was able to see the data. So this is my Spark conf, and I'm trying to create a master local. Am I missing to something?
Seth,
Yeah,
I'm just asking, can we create a data frame without Spark session?
yeah. We can create. That's what I'm trying to show, na. So here, what I'm trying to, we have not used Spark session, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have used Spark conf and Spark context. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to convert this RDD to a data frame. Okay, so let's just give me a quick minute. What we will do is, we'll try to test this on our REPL, because sometimes this environment issue comes. So because the code is correct, what I feel, let's quickly test on this REPL, because this environment sometimes give you a little issue. So let's type PySpark over here. Okay, so it will have a REPL method invoked. and once the REPL method is invoked, okay, so if you see, we have a Spark as a session. Okay, so we do not need to create this Spark session or Spark context in this REPL mode. By default, it is instantiated over here. Okay, so we have created a, so let's go over here and let's use parallelize method. Okay, and let's see the type of RDD. Okay, so it is giving me an RDD, that is okay. Now let's try to give a 2df method, and let's copy this and let's paste this. Okay, quickly see the type of df. See here it is showing data frame, so something is fishy with this. That's what, because the code is like, it's a very simple code, there is nothing in this code. Okay, just quickly let me close this VM. Sometimes it gives issue. Till the time we'll try to see over here. Okay, so let me open. Till the time it will open, it just take matter of seconds. Okay, now if I just try to say data frame dot print schema, okay, so if you see, I'm trying to get _1 _2 as a column, and if I try to say df dot show, okay, _1 will be my column name, and under that my data will be reflecting in a structure way. Okay, are we able to see this? Let's quickly close this. Okay, and now let's hover over it. Okay, and let's run this and let's see what it gives us. Is it complaining? We'll try to see that. Okay, meanwhile let's come back. Any questions like how will you convert your RDD to data frame? Okay, we'll see all these things. As of now, I have just started. Okay, we'll see all permutation combinations, how to create struct, nested struct, different types of columns, naming, schema. But as of now, we have just started. So any questions in this understanding? How to create your RDD to data frame? And why this is complaining here? Because it has no attribute 2df method. Any questions? Or we are good with it?
Sev, just one question.
Yes.
For numeric data, does it consider by default it as a long?
Yes, the internal types which it recognizes, like whatever, like based on this Spark optimization that pipeline added. So internally it tries to identify the type and it tries to pick the data. Okay, so that's where, like as I said in the definition, we can impose a structure of ourselves also on top of when reading the data. We'll try to see that. If it is not reading as per my requirement, let's say, and when I'm getting a CSV file, in that I have a date column, it a numeric column, float column, string column, all things. But it will be giving me as a string only, so I will do all the creating a structure as per the type of the actual data. We'll do that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. And why this is like giving me a trouble, I'm not sure. So let's say I'm trying to create a data frame from RDD. It's not coming only. Do I need to add something? So Spark session is definitely not needed. So that is, I'm 100% sure. So that is not a problem. Why it is not able to? Let's give one last try. Test.py. Okay, so let's say my data frame equals to RDD dot df. No, it's not coming. The pop-up is only not coming. So my df dot print schema. Let's execute this. So we have created this, the project structure I have already given. Okay, so let me look into this, because it looks some environment issue because we are able to see this. So maybe I'll just need to fix the what it goes. So I'll just look into this so that we'll not invest time. At least like we'll proceed with the topics. Okay. So I hope like this is conveying the message that we are able to convert your RDD to data frame. Okay. No questions till here.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why, if I was audible or not.
Okay. So now you are audible.
Okay. What I was saying, can you provide a DIR method here?
What method?
This method, uh, like with RDD, we are this particular method is available or not to DF.
It is available. We have tested and we are able to see the output, right?
But sir, here we are using 3.0 architecture, right?
So here, see, it's not the architecture.
Yeah, means version. Okay.
Again, here also we have the same thing. So if you go into like, remember when we were trying to create the project structure over here into the setting step. So we have given 3.0.1, right?
Okay.
Okay. So don't worry, I will look into it because it seems some common problem. We'll try to fix it. That's not a big thing. As of now, it is just like eating some time. So what is the issue? So pipeline RDD object has no attribute to DF in PySpark. But if you see RF, okay, so this is not a pipeline RDD. Okay, if you see, we are getting a complete RDD. It means like it is getting a complete RDD. Okay, so that is what I'm able to see. So we are not doing something. It should be able to convert it over here. So there's nothing like new which I'm trying to show. Even if you see, when we went to the REPL mode and I tried to see the type, that's where I like went. So that's where I was like just checking whether it's a pipeline RDD or RDD. So when I when I type a command type of RDD, it was clearly giving me it's a class of RDD. So there is some issue with the environment, I guess. So I'll fix that and maybe like we'll see in this couple of program. Hopefully we'll be able to do, but at least we'll progress. We'll not stop because of that. Okay. I hope there is no questions in this. Okay. So as of now, this program is not working. We'll keep this in parking and I'll try to fix it and I'll show means whatever my findings are there, I will come to, I'll get back to you. Okay. So the first one is we are good. Okay. So with the 2DF method, you will be able to convert your RDDs to data frame. Okay. No questions till here, right? Yes, no?
No, sir. Yes.
Okay. So the second is we can use create data frame. Okay. So with the create data frame method, we can directly create that. Okay. So Spark session class provides create data frame method. Okay. What it does is it provides us this method to create data frame. Okay. And it takes RDD object as an argument and chain it to DF. So we'll try to see the same thing what we have done. So let me open, or let me just, okay, let's create one more program because anyhow it's just, let's create one more program. Okay. So here we will say, let's say create data frame method. Okay. So now I will be using a Spark session. So I'll show both the methods as I told you. So we can go in here also and go in here also. Okay. So now what I'm trying to do is, so from PySpark, okay, I'm trying to import my Spark session. Okay. So it is from PySpark.SQL. Okay. So from PySpark, see, whenever like you do not get something, so you should, if you remember like a little back earlier, I recognized that issue when writing the code only, and you will also get habituated into that. If you do not see some prompt, or if you see something, the code is not uploaded, you will get that instinct that something is missing or something is fishy in my code. Here also, if you see, when I'm trying to write from PySpark, import Spark, so it was not coming. So I was making some mess. So this is how you will learn and you will grow. Okay. So now it comes. Now I'm trying to create a main method. Okay. I'm trying to create a Spark object from a Spark session class. It has a builder method function. Sorry. okay, and it will take few arguments which we have given like there. So one will have the application name. So let's say we are trying to see create data frame method over here, okay, and we are trying to set the master. As of now, I told you that I am trying to use all my local resources, okay. Moving ahead, we'll try to see how we can change that, okay. So let me use all the resources, and finally I'll have to say get or create method, okay. So this is how, moving ahead, you will be creating your Spark session either in your 1.x method, okay, I can here or here. So both the things I have shown, okay. Now it's a method, so we need to do enclosing of open parenthesis and close parenthesis, okay. What I'll do is I'll quickly pick this data, okay. So I'll quickly pick this data, so it will save a little bit of time, okay. So I have my department. If you remember, if you not remember, if I have shown here, if you see, when I was trying to say data frame dot show, I was not trying to get column names, okay. So by default, what it does is it starts _1, _2, and so on, how many column names are available, okay. So here what I'll try to say, I'll try to create a list and I'll try to say column name also, okay. I'm trying to create both the things, okay. And the column names what I'll try to give is, so the first column name I'll try to give is department name. The second column name I'll try to give is department ID. So what I've done, I've cooked some dummy data with some data, and here I'm trying to give some column names. As we are seeing the second method, so what I'm trying to create, I'm trying to create a data frame, okay. So where it is available, so I have created a Spark object, so I'm trying to use my Spark object. In that we have create data frame method as they suggested. It takes two arguments, okay. So what is the first argument? It will take, the first thing is data, okay, and the second thing is it will take the schema. It takes two things. So the data is available inside this, so I'm just pasting this over here. The schema which I have defined is over here. I'm copying this and I'm pasting this over here, okay. Now if I try to say mydf dot print schema, okay, and if I say mydf dot show method, okay, and if I try to execute this small code, we should be able to see the data in a structured format, in a tabular format. The only thing we'll be able to see extra is the column names would be available which we have defined over here, as compared to the previous one where we were getting _1 and _2, okay. So we can also, like, you can omit this also, okay, even it will give you the same result. Let me re-execute this. Okay, any questions?
No, sir.
No. Okay, so I hope, like, see, this is very basic I'm showing, because this is where we will start and we will grow slowly. Okay, so you are able to convert your RDT to data frame. As of now this is not working, but I have already shown here it's a working code, okay. Then what we did is we took a create data frame method and create a data frame, okay. So as of now I'm just trying to use some dummy data, okay, but we can, moving ahead, we'll play with all nested JSONs, XML files, web API, all those things. Slowly we will go, okay. Now second is done, create data frame. Let's see the,
What
yeah,
the
yes.
2DF method is being used in previous version.
Your voice is a little low, and 2DF is in previous version.
I mean, Spark 1 or 2, it was being used, right? Not
Yes,
in.
it was used. Don't worry, it means, like, again, like, this is not show, means, like, if it is showing, so in my previous version, like, as I said, like, in it, Spark was released in 1.3.0, right? Sorry, the data frame came in 1.3.0. correct? So from 1.6 onwards, majorly, like if you see the previous release, 1.6 was the famous one, and now if you see in the 2.x method, 2.4.7 is the major famous release. So it has, don't worry, the thing is like some environment issue, or maybe like I'll have to see, I'll fix that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we are able to convert the RDDs to data frame. We are able to create a data frame. So create data frame method. It is asking you two arguments. One is data, okay, and the other is schema. Okay, we are done with this. Now let's see the third thing. What we will do is we will create data frame, okay, with struct type schema. Struct type schema. Now what is struct type schema? Let's understand that. Okay, let's go over here. Okay, so I'll go inside this only. So what I'll do is, for the time being, I'll just comment this. So let's say this is create. So let's say this is create data frame method. Okay, now we are trying to see the struct method or struct type method, to be precise. Okay, so struct type method. Okay, what it says. Okay, so as we have seen a little earlier, okay, so when you infer the schema, so by default, and again like let's come a little here. Okay, as you have seen the data type, if you see, when it was trying to infer the schema, it was automatically identifying the types based on your data. Okay, sometimes it will identify correctly, sometimes it will not. I'm not saying incorrectly, but it will try to use its best intelligent process to scan the data, and it will try to identify the type of the data, but sometimes it does not. So that's where we come into picture as a developer, and we try to define our own schema with proper type of the data. Okay, that's where your struct type will come into picture. Okay, so let's understand how. Let's go back over here. Okay, so what I will do is I will just take this as it is. Okay, so the same data we will take. Okay, I'm just trying to keep short and simple so that you understand, and maybe like once we move ahead, so maybe once we enlarge it, so you will be able to do this. Okay, now my data is created. Now if you see earlier what I did, I just created only column names, but I did not created any type of that. So that's where like I'm trying to do this over here. So what I'm trying to do is, let's say I'm trying to create a schema. Okay, with which method? I'm trying to use my struct type method. So what I need to just say, I just need to type struct. Again, if you see, I'm not able to get this. So what you'll have to do is, you'll have to go a little top. Okay, from PySpark dot SQL dot types. Okay, from this package, what you need to import is, you need to import struct type. Okay, you will be needing struct field also. Okay, and a few data types you will be needing. So let's say I'm trying to give as of now just string type. Focus on this as of now, because that was not available, but now if you just try to remove and if you retype this, hopefully you should be able to get that. Okay, now when I'm trying to say struct type, okay, so open square brackets. Okay, and sorry, this is a method, right? So here I need to provide my schema. How I will provide my schema? Okay, so the first column is some string and the second column is some integer, and it has some column names. So let's do that. How to do that? So it needs to be tell that this is a struct field. That's why I imported that struct field a little earlier. Okay, so what is the first column name? The first column name is nothing but department name. Okay, what this is how the syntax it will go. See, data type, nullable, it is telling us. So for what is the first thing? It is giving me then the type of the data. So let's say I'm trying to tell it is a string type. Okay, then the nullability. So by default, if you'll see nullable, it's true, false. Okay, so I'll just say true. Okay, anyhow, for like when we are playing with .txt file, this won't be affected, but let me copy this piece of line, Control C. So I have how many rows? 3 rows, right? So for that, I'm just trying to define my schema. Okay, sorry, I have only 2 columns. I should not get with this. Okay, so the first is I have got this department name, and the second column is nothing but my department ID. And if you want to give integer type, yes, we can do that. Integer, as it is not coming, see, it is marking as red. So let's go a little top and import that integer type, and let's come a little down. Now that error should not going because we have not written correctly. Okay, so where what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to define a schema of my own. You can give any column name of your choice, again data type as pertaining to your data. Okay, so this nullability for true and false we will not be able to demonstrate on .txt or .csv file. We'll be able to demonstrate on databases because that's where the constraints are applied, nullability. Okay, so this is how you'll have to define your struct type. Okay, so let's close this, let's bring it to a equivalent flow, and hopefully now, so my schema is created, my data is available. Simply what I need to do is I just need to do this same thing what I did earlier. So what I'll do, my struct data frame equals to, what you will use, you will use Spark create data frame. It will have 2 things. Okay, what is the first thing? The first thing, it is expecting the data, it is available in this variable, and then it is expecting the schema, so it is available over here. And same thing we will have to do, my struct data frame to see the schema what is available, and if you want to see the data, so you will just say show action. Okay, if you just say right click and execute, again you should be able to see the same piece of data with those 2 columns. Okay, so the only thing what I am trying to do over here is I am trying to impose my own schema over here. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to impose my own schema over here. So are we able to understand how we will be creating struct type? Because moving ahead there will be like complex long programs, so at that moment of time you need to create these kind of schemas and etc. And also you have seen in the demos also, long 17 lines, 20 lines, we need to define the schema based on the data which we are receiving from the source. So are we clear on the struct type?
Yes.
Okay, okay, so as if we are clear now, in RDDs we have seen we can read the data from external sources, like read the data from .txt file. Okay, so now we'll try to understand the various permutations and combinations which we can apply on writing the code. And before that, let's take a quick break, because this will, let's try to go deep dive in like how to read CSV files, what are the different things which are available step by step. Okay, this will be hopefully it will be a good learning to you. Okay, so let's see how to read, write CSV file. Okay, so I'll say data frame read write CSV file. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is simply what we'll try to do, so from okay, so see, it's okay, so let's go. So from PySpark I'm trying to import, again I'm trying to miss, from PySpark dot SQL. So we are trying to import Spark session. I'm trying to create a main method, and then just do quick copy paste just to save a time. Okay, because now you know this, so I hope like you should be able to play with this. Okay, so here I'm just trying to say this is nothing but read and write CSV. Okay, so my main method is created with one Spark as a driver program. Okay, so now the fourth thing which I am trying to show to all is So create data frame from external sources. Okay, and these external sources could be anything like databases, URLs. Okay, that just now I have shown. Okay, or some like you can say CSV files, .txt files. Okay, JSON files. Then as someone asked me, Parquet, Avro. Okay, here also we, and again like we have XML. We can read the data from Hive, we can read the data from S3. All these things we'll be seeing. Okay, so as of now I'll just show one thing, but moving ahead we will cover everything. Okay, now let's start doing step by step. Okay, now first thing is I'll be reading the CSV file and see the difference in headers and schema what I'm trying to show. Okay, which you have already understood, but here I'm starting again, and this is an end-to-end process. Okay, let's understand that. So the first thing what I'm trying to say is read CSV file. Okay, how you will read the CSV file. Okay, so let's say this is read data frame, or let's say any name, let's say read file. Okay, so what you will do, Spark, in Spark we have a read. In read we have different formats which I was talking about. Can you see what are the different things which are available as a text, table, Parquet, ORC, JDBC, schema, format? Okay, many things are available. So what I'm trying to say, spark.read.csv. okay, so the file is available at a particular location. Okay, so the location is something like, if I just open a new tab, we all know under datasets folder we have all the files. You won't get these many files, but slowly you will get all these files. Okay, the file which I am trying to refer is medical data.cs. If you don't any, means like people who are trying to do parallel practice side by side, if you do not have this file, you can take any file. Okay, but I will share this. So I am trying to read the data from this file. That's what I am trying to say over here. So file, you can, as I told you, you can read the data from your edge node, and also you can read the data from your HDFS file system. It's your call, because I have shown both the methods. Okay, sometimes I will read from edge node, sometimes I will read from HDFS. So it's not that I cannot do anything. Means like if I'm reading from here, I cannot read from there. So don't take that. So it's your call wherever you want to go. Okay, so file colon. Okay, so I'll just try to give / home under save folder. So we have LFS, we have data sets. Okay, and finally the file name we have is nothing but medical data.csv. Okay, so this is just a name. So what I have run, spark.read.format I have given, and I have just, so what I can do is simply read file dot print schema. So print schema always will give you the structure, and if you want to see the data, okay, there is always an action. Okay, so read file dot show is an action. Sometimes what will happen is the data which is available, it will be more than 20 characters. So what it will do, after 20 characters it will truncate. But if you want to see the entire data, first let that scenario come, and hopefully I'll be able to show. So let's see. The first thing is I'm trying to show you the reading of the CSV file. Now what it will do, this example will read the data from the CSV file. Okay, it will try to analyze the columns, infer the schema, and etc. Okay, now see the problem in this. Okay, let me scroll a little up. The first thing is, there are so many columns, and I do not know underscore C0 and underscore, let's say, C5 belongs, what does this carry? So first thing is, I'm not able to recognize my column names. Okay? Second thing, let's go a little down. I can see my actual column names are being a part of my data, which is again incorrect, right? So these are the two things which I'm able to see. we'll just remove all these things, don't worry. Okay, so you can write the code like this, Control C. Let me comment this. Or what you can do is, see, every developer has its own style of writing with different syntaxes. Okay, but again, so here what you can do is spark.read. You can just provide the format also. what is the format of the data which you are trying to read. So I'm trying to read the data that is in CSV format. And then here you will not say CSV, you will say load. Let me re-execute this again. So I'm showing you all the possible ways. Okay, moving ahead, whichever comfortable way you feel, you go ahead with your choices. Okay. So it will give us the same result. There will be no differences. So it's just like writing the syntaxes in a different manner. Okay. Now we need to remove these two things. The first thing is what we'll try to remove the issue of the header. Okay. So if you see the header is coming as a part of my data, right? And I don't want. So what I will do is I will cut this. Now let's try to add a header. Okay. So I'll just paste this over here. So take header, any variable name, it's your call. Okay, take header. Now what is the earlier data frame name? So read file. Okay, now here what I am trying to do is, let me comment this out as well. Let me copy this. Let take this only. Okay, so what I'm trying to do over here, spark dot read, I'm trying to provide some format, right? CSV, right? So what I will do, simply I will just enter and I will just enter. And here what I'm trying to say is, okay, I'm trying to give one option. In that I'm trying to provide a key and I'm providing to value. So the key is header, okay, and the value is true. By default it is false. Okay, now if I try to execute the same piece of code, so what it will do, it will read the header, and now your header will not be a part of your data. Okay, so let the data come and then we will demonstrate and then we will take it ahead. Okay, so if you see now my column names, okay, and also if you see over here the column names. Okay, but I have resolved the problem of my data, that is that header is not now part of my data, that is getting resolved. But if you see, all the column names are also being identified, that is also good. But if you see, all the columns are of type string. But if you try to just, let's say, head -hive medical data.csv, so let's say one is, means like, as it's a CSV file, it's a string, but I don't want, so I need, like, let's say if there would be scenario, one column is of date type and the other is timestamp, integer, float, string, I need to get that. How you will get that? Okay, so there you will have to infer the schema. What you will have to do, you will have to infer the schema. How you will infer the schema? Again, by adding one option, which is like, we are instructing that when you are trying to read the file with the Spark optimization process, try to scan the data and identify the type of the data. That's what we are trying to instruct. How? We are trying to write one more option over here, which has key, which has value. Okay, which has key, which has value. And here what I'm trying to write, infer schema, and here again I'm trying to say true. And let me re-execute this piece of code again. So now what it will do, so the default value is false. When setting it to true, it automatically infers the type based on the data. Okay, but you need to understand, this is a very important, which I'm trying to say is, okay, reading the data, inferring the data, reading the data will create one more job. Okay, but again, to infer the schema, there will be one more job, it will get created. Hopefully if I get time today, we will be able to see the Spark web UI, or else we'll see next Saturday, because that's where you'll get a clear picture. Okay, as of now it's okay, it's like you are not able to see the type because it is enclosed in strings. If I take another file, you should be able to get, so let's say we'll take orders.txt, or we had like movies.csv, right? So yesterday we have seen, right? Let's take that movies.csv. Let's execute this, because for this the data is actually enclosed in string. That's why it is not able to infer the schema based on the type of the data. It's just like I just want to show a small difference. Okay, so and again, can you see this? More than 20 characters I showed, like it will not be able to show the data. That's one thing. Again, there's a good thing. So if you see now, the type is getting changed. Okay, earlier every column was string, but now based on the scanning which it is doing, it is able to identify and it is converting. If you don't want this, if you want to see the entire data, okay, what you can do is simply in the action method, you will say truncate equals to false. Let me re-execute this.
Only while showing it getting truncated, if you want to write into some other file, also it will come
No,
truncated only.
no, it won't truncate. It is just only while displaying your data on your console. When you are trying to write the data, it will be the entire data which is available in that column.
Okay.
So, Saif, one question here. I mean, we have lots of records here, right? Only 20 years.
Yes, again, that is a good observation. So by default, it shows only first 20 records. Okay, if you want to show all, so you just need to give a hypothetical number, something like 5,000, 6,000, so you'll be able to see that. Because on console, we just try to see few sample data, and based on that, they have given this flexibility. Okay?
So it will be limited to 20 characters and in each column and also it goes like, right?
Yeah, for each column, it has a 20 characters limitation, okay, and for row, it has top 20 rows, okay. So you can just give some greater number. Let's say I can give some 100, and if I try to execute this, okay, now if you see, the data count has changed.
But it has some 112. Can you scroll down?
No, it was 100 only, right?
Okay. Sorry.
That, forget about this. This is like just internal those things about the data.
Yes, got it.
Okay? Are we good with all these things? Hopefully, because everything. See, again, I got some issue because I'm not able to highlight. Quickly, let me close this. Yeah.
Sir, can you explain this infer schema once again?
Infer schema. What infer schema is doing is, okay, by default, when you are trying to read the file, okay, it will read the file and it will display your data. Okay, when you are not trying to infer the schema, okay, what it will happen is it will not have like the type of the data appropriately. It will have everything into string. So when you are saying a command or an argument that is infer schema, which is this, when you are instructing, when reading a file, infer the schema, which means that you are instructing an application code that is a Spark application. When you are trying to read this file, whatever data is available in that file, okay, based on the data, so this is of type string, let's say this is of type date, this is of type number, do we have any number? Yeah, let's say this is of type integer, just for a demonstration. So when you will try to say infer schema, so when it will try to scan only first 20 records, I don't know how much it scans first 20 or first 100, because if a file has, let's say, 1 million record, it does not scan the entire 1 million. It goes to like 20 or 30, I don't know what is that exact number, but it tries to scan first 40, 50, whatever number rows, and based on that, it tries to infer the schema. So that's where it's not guaranteed that always you will get a correct schema based on the scan. That's where the Spark gives you a flexibility. But as a developer, as I told you a little while earlier, we need to impose our own structure, and that's where the struct type you will find mostly. Okay?
Okay.
Any questions apart from that?
Yes, sir. Irfan here.
Yes, Irfan.
So instead, if suppose I don't know how much records I so if want to display all the records, is there any possibility just if suppose we can give the star if we display all the records in
No,
that
we do not have those flexibility. We just need to provide the number. So hypothetical number you'll have to provide. Or what you can do is simply you can write the data in the means like a temporary intermediate, and you just evaluate the entire data, open in a notepad, and just try to do whatever like you want to do. You can do that and come back. So this is just like, see, this is the console or the ID which is provided. So here have a little limitations. You can see the data based on that. So that's where you'll have to take it.
Okay, sir.
Sir, if we provide the scanner with the stuff type, then another job is not created, right?
Yeah. Hussein, I will show. So one here now, if you see, one job is created for this and one job is created for this. I will show that with a practical implementation. For the time, let's be in parking.
Sir, with,
Yeah.
sir, let's suppose we have a column in that it's address column, and in that address column we have a comma separated. So as PHP is a comma separated.
Mm-hmm.
So let's suppose there is some address called Mall Road under comma Shimla. So
It will automatically identify as a one column.
it will identify it as
Yes.
one column.
Like in ETL, we had to give double quotes. There is
Yeah.
no problem over here. It will automatically identify that.
Okay. So we don't have to specify any stuff here.
No. We do not have to specify those stuff over here.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
No, sir.
We are able to remove the header, like we are able to identify the header.
Yes.
Suppose it has some footer as well.
Okay. So we do not have that flexibility. So we'll have to write the code.
Okay.
We'll have to write the code.
Okay.
It's a JSON file. Okay, I'll show that, Obed. I'm not able to recall that file name. So I just changed the file name. I'm not able to recall the file name wherein I have the addresses also. Okay, so I will show that.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
Yeah, no, but it can do that easily. Any questions? No questions? Okay. So let's make a small move again. So let's come back to the medical data.csv. Okay. Now, we have shown infer schema and all those things. Okay. Now there is one more thing. Okay. So if you remember, if you see, what if like, let's say the default delimiter is comma. Okay. So if you see the default delimiter is comma in this file. But what if like my delimiters are coming as pipe or hash? How you can do that? Again, what you'll have to do is you'll have to do option. Okay, you'll have to provide a key. You'll have to provide a value. Okay, so whatever delimiter it is there, you provide that as a key, and whatever the value is there, provide it. So it will go. It will work. Now what I'll do is I'll copy this. I'll comment this. Okay, and again I'll paste this. Now if you see, I'm trying to write multiple options over here. I don't want to do this. I'm a lazy person. Okay, so what you can do is you can write options with the S. Okay, so you can say header equals to true, I guess. Okay, after that what we have infer schema equals to true, and what is the third thing? Delimiter equals to comma. I can write like this also. Okay, let's re-execute this piece of code. Okay, so it's your call again how you want to write. I am comfortable with the previous. I always go with, means again, as I have started, so I got comfortable with that previous version. If you're comfortable with this version, you can write with this version. It's your call, but there is no difference. That's what I wanted to demonstrate. You can write your code in your own style. As long as we are getting correct result, it does not matter to us. Okay, so you can write options over here also. So are we good till here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what I'll try to do is, if you remember, I showed you struct type, right? So in struct type, there is one more method. Okay. So now you are able to read the file from the external sources. Now you're able to understand header, infer schema, okay, the different options, delimiter, etc., etc. Okay, I have shown. So now you will be able to read the CSV file at least. Because moving ahead, once I start with XML, JSON, okay, there are different libraries which is required. There are different jars which are needed to import. That will come as the course progresses. As of now, we are able to read my CSV file, and whatever things are available, I am able to do that. Now what I'll try to do is, I'll try to create a custom, means like again I'll try to read a CSV file. Okay, so let's say read CSV file with a user specified custom schema. Again here I'm trying to use my struct type, but in struct type we have a add column, add method. Okay, so again, like, it's both are same, but there is one small difference, and again that will be as a question which will be put it to you in the assignments. Maybe I think you will get next week, because this week you will get RDD's assignment, not data frame. Okay, so let's try to understand. Okay, so what I'm showing, I've shown the first method as a struct. Now there is one file, head -5, and that, head -5, and the file name is transactions. This is what I'm trying to show. It has a header, it has few data. Okay, now what I need to do is, I need to create a schema for this, and I need to, okay, so let's do that. So what I'll do, I'll comment this out. So let's say read transactions file. Okay, so let's go a little top. Okay, so what I will try to do, simply can I quickly copy that? So I'll just save a little time of mine. So Control C, because I have already shown that, so you should be able to do those things now. Okay, so if you want to just select all this, if you want to do uncomment, Control /, okay, comment uncomment. So I'm trying to read, the format is CSV, okay, header through infer the schema, delimiter we have comma. Okay, so now we just need to change the file name, and that file name is nothing but DXNS, right? So we have to TK. So I'll be able to read the file and able to get the data, no issues. Now let's go a little down. So read file, print schema, read file dot show. There's an action which is being called. Let's execute this. Now when you're trying to read the file with this, whatever options you have suggested, okay, so you have told like, okay, please take the header, please infer the schema, and so the delimiter. So now what I'm trying to do is, the schema which is being read, okay, which is being read by whom? By Spark intelligently, and it is identifying the schema. But I don't want that. I want my own schema to be imposed over here. So what I want my own schema. So how I will do that? Again, you have seen with the struct type, but here also what I can do, I can create my schema and pass as an argument over here. Okay, that's what I'm trying to show over here. So I'm trying to create my schema equals to. So what I need a struct type, right? That's what we have seen. Okay, so in struct type, what I need is, not a dictionary, so it will be a list. Enter. So now I have to go with all column names one by one, and I need to define the type of it. Okay, so I think the first is integer, so the second is like string type. Okay, so I'm trying to define some data type. Okay, so here see, let me start writing this, and hopefully you will get it. Okay, so struct type I have done. In the earlier, if you see, now I can do with my struct field also. If I just scroll a little up, I have shown somewhere, I think in this program. Okay, so here I have shown with struct field. Okay, this is the method I'm trying. You can use this also, but there is one more which Spark gives you, so I'm trying to show that over here. Okay, so let's go over it. So here you will not do this under list, so I'll remove this. So here using struct type, okay, and here you are trying to use a dot add method. So let's go in the newer line. I'll just go step instead. The code will look good. Okay, now what is the first column name? So I have that copied that. So let me just paste this over here so that it will be quicker for me to type it. Okay, so the first column name is nothing but my TXN number, transaction number. Okay, so what will be the type of it? So let's say the type of it will be, let's say, integer type. Okay, and then finally what is the nullability, true, false. Okay, as it's a file, it won't matter. So this is how. The only thing is, earlier we had inside this and I was writing struct field, and here I'm trying to add according to me. Okay, both are according to us only as a developer, but there is just a small variance, and I'll tell you later. As of now, it's too early. Okay, so what we will do quickly, we will just copy this piece. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So 1 is already there. 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, so I'm just copying this. Okay, and I'm just okay. So let's change the column names, and here the see why I'm going. You can continue in a single line also. So this is just a line breaker I'm trying to use. Okay, now the second column name is nothing but a transaction TXN date. Okay, do we have let's go a little up from PySpark.SQL.types. We have imported struct field, sorry, struct type. Then we will need string type. Okay, so again we will need integer type. Okay, then we will need date type, and that's sufficient, I guess. We will play with only these things. Okay, so now what I'll try to do, so the first column, so this is nothing but transaction data. It's not transaction data, it's transaction date. Okay, so I will say like it is a date type. Okay, so that was actually right, date type. Yeah, so you just need to change as per. So I'll just, so what I will do, transaction, let me cross check. So transaction number, integer, date. So then we have integer, then we have float also. So this integer type is correct, so I will just change the column name, that is customer number. Then I have amount. Okay, it's of type float. So let's go a little up, FLO and float type. Let's go a little down, so where is amount? So here. Okay, need to change this, so float type. Okay, then what is after float? I think like all are string, I guess, right? Yeah, so all are string. I can see all this, so there will be no tension. Okay, so amount is done. So after that I just need to go with category. Okay, and the type will be string type. Okay, then what I will do is quickly I will copy this and I will just remove this, so that okay, so what is the column name after category type? I have product. Okay, it is of type string. Again I have city. Then I have state. Okay, then finally I have spend by. Okay, all the columns have been defined and we just need to eradicate this. Okay, so this is done. Now let's come print schema and all this. Now I have defined my own custom schema. Okay, and I just need to comment this out because this is not a part of the code. Okay, so I have defined my custom schema. So if I want to pass this, okay, if I want to pass this, I can pass this over here also. So what I'll have to do, I'll have to just remove this. I'll have to say schema equals to pass this over here and execute this. Okay, so while reading also, if it is reading, you can create your own schema. Okay, So there are various methods what you can play. Okay, so it is telling my schema is not defined. Okay, so that should have been into double quotes. Let's execute this. It should not be in double quotes. Okay, now even while reading also I was able to infer the schema. Okay, and I was able to see. Now if you see the type, even after specifying, it is still not changing. Okay,
Save before my schema you have written this schema you have defined, right? So before that, interpreter reads lender end, right?
Basically declared on top, right?
yes, so this means like this schema, right? Okay, so you are saying like this, right?
Yes.
That's where, and that's where the point was. Okay, again see. Okay, so you will have to identify this root cause. So again, like you will have to debug on this, and you'll have to given to you. Hopefully at that moment of time when you will try to explore, you will get your answer. As of now, this is like in your area. Okay, you need to find out the difference, like when we will go with struct type, struct field method, and when we'll go with add. Okay, but I'm just showing you the possibilities as of now. I hope like both possibilities are good. In place of this, if you don't want to use dot add, what you'll have to write struct field, and this everything will come in a list. That is the only difference. Just understand the difference. Later on we will see what is correct, what is not, what is which one want to use, which one we don't want to use. We will identify. I'm just trying to show possible scenarios, possible ways which we can write the code and play the code. I hope that is making sense to everyone. Can I move forward?
Yes, sir.
Just
Okay.
one question, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, sir.
So when you've executed the code, in the output, it's still showing a string.
Yeah.
From the root. If you can scroll up on the output.
Yeah, that's what.
Yep. So here. So why it's showing everything as string whereas we have defined a string?
That's where the question. That's what I told Hassan. So that's where the question will be given to you in the assignments. What is what is the difference between struct type and with struct field method, and what is the difference between struct type and dot add method?
Okay.
So first you'll have to do some investigations.
All right.
Okay. And don't worry. Again, like if you think like you can add in your question parking list, but I know these are like common problems which I face every batch. So it's just a repetition for me. Okay.
Yep. Thanks.
Okay. Any questions? So you are able to read the file. Different types of, like if you want to impose the schema, you can use struct field. You can use dot add method. Okay. You can read the header, delimiter, provide your own schema while reading the file. All those things you can do now. Okay. So now there is, hopefully as of now, to just start with, this is every good. Now I'm able to read. Okay, I am not showing transformations as of now because next week Saturday Sunday transformations will be there. Now what I want to do is I want to write the data. Okay, I'm able to read the data. Now transformation, so there will be some requirement or logic which will be shown. But now I want to write the data. Okay, so let's come over here. Okay, now what I will do is, okay, I want to write the data. So let me comment this as well. Okay, so how you will, the same way how you are trying to read the data. So while writing the data, let's come back and let me write something. Now when you are trying to write the data, okay, it provides different saving mode options to you. What are those different saving mode options? Okay, the first one is error mode. By default it's an error mode. Okay, so this is a default option. Okay, default option. which means that when the file already exists, it returns an error. We will see all this practically step by step. Second thing, the second one is ignore mode. Okay, ignore mode, as the name itself suggests, it ignores write operation when the file already exists. Okay, we'll see that when the data is changing, not changing. Okay, append, the name itself suggests, to add the data to the existing file. And the fourth and the last method is overwrite. The name itself again suggests this mode will overwrite the existing data. Okay, so when you're trying to save the data or when you're trying to write the data, there are 4 different saving modes are given by Spark: ignore, error, append, and overwrite. Let's demonstrate step by step. So I'm able to read the data. Okay, as of now I'm not interested in transforming the data, and straight away I want to write it. Okay, so let's start. So the first thing what you will try to do is, okay, so there are options what you need to do. What are those options? Let's see. So not data frame, it is the read file. That is your data frame name. Okay, you need to, when you were trying to do read, so now you are trying to say write. Okay, write is for data frame, and write stream, when you will be seeing the streaming concepts, at that moment of time we'll use write stream. As of now, write. Okay, you are trying to write. Okay, while writing also you can specify these options. As of now I am not interested in that. Okay, as of now I am interested in you to show like what are the possible saving modes which I can play with. Okay, so read file dot write. Okay, then let's say I'm trying to data frame dot write. So option I'm not trying to give, and let's say I'll try to say CSV. Format is, let's give the format, I don't want to give because I need to show that snappy dot parquet, and let's say dot save. Okay, let's give some path. Okay, I'll try to give a HDFS path. Okay, it's your call. Even you can write the data to your edge node also. Okay, so I have already read the data from edge node, so now I'm going to the HDFS path. You can do both the things on edge node, both the things on Hadoop. You have to play. So HDFS localhost 9000, and I think I have shown this where it comes from, right, last time. User save HFS input. Okay, these are the directory structures which we created in the day 1 program, day 1 session, right? So in place of input, I'm writing the data to my output directory, right? So there. So let's say we are trying to say save modes. We are trying to see save modes. Okay, and let's write a print statement. Let's say data written successfully. Okay, so I'm just trying to do a right click and execute this piece. So what is the first option? It is telling ignore mode. Okay, if it is not available, it will write, sorry, the error mode, sorry. And meanwhile it is getting executed. Okay, so data written successfully, that message came. Let me quickly go and copy this, and let's come to the terminal. So what I have to do, HDFS dfs-ls, paste that. You need to understand, whenever we do a write from the Spark, it always creates a directory, not a file. So it created a directory with this name. Under that name, it created some part file. Okay, so one is success file and the remaining is part file. Okay, and if you want to verify the data, you can verify the data what I have told. The important point which I wanted to show you is, by default it is writing in a .snappy parquet format, which is the default format. So the format is .parquet, and this is one of the compression, snappy. Okay, now let me re-execute this again. So it should give us error. Why? Because that directory is already available. So the first option which we are trying to demonstrate is error. Okay, if it is not available, so it is telling us, okay, so it is giving us the error. So that it is telling that it's already exist. Okay, now we will change the options. Now I will go to, sorry, it's not option, it is a mode. Okay, now here you need to say, the first by default is error. Now I will say ignore, second option. Let me execute this. So what it will do, if it is available, it will just ignore it. It will not do anything. If it is not available, then it will write it. That's what it says to us. Let's see, are we getting the error or not? Okay, we did not get the error. If you clear off the screen and if you execute this, we are not getting any. Again, we can verify the data, but I know like it's not changing. Can you tell me, will I be able to see this data in this edge node.snappy.parquet? If I try to say hdfs dfs-cat, okay, and let's say any parquet part file, I'm just copying it and I'm pasting it. Let's execute this. See, the data is like in a compressed, and someone asked like, can you see the schema over here? Whatever the schema is available. So that's why multiple jobs are not required to read the data from Parquet file format. That's why Parquet file format are considered to be the best file format to play with Spark. Okay. Okay. So let's come back. Are we good with the second option? That is nothing but the error ignore. Okay. Now we will go with the third option, that is append. We know what is append. It will add the data. Let's execute this and let's see what it is doing. Okay, successfully written. Now let's execute the previous command again. What is the difference you are trying to observe? More 3 part files. Yeah, more 3 part files got created. So I means your understanding would have been like, okay, it would have added the data into your existing part files, right? That's what it says, append, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So why it is not happening? Because SDF, whenever the data is being written once into the SDFS, it is not modifiable. So you always have to remember this bottom line. In the first session, someone asked question, can I modify the data in the SDFS? No. Once it is written, you cannot. Either you can overwrite, remove, and then write the fresh data, or copy or move, all those things. That's why in append also, it is going to the same directory, but it is not appending into the existing file. It is creating new files, but appending the entire part files into same directory. Are we able to understand this?
Yes, sir.
The last mode is the overwrite. Let's execute this again. And hopefully whatever your understanding of about overwrite is, that will be true in this case. Okay, data written successfully. If I try to execute this command again, so I'm getting 3 part files. Earlier I had 6 part files, now I have 3 part files. So these are the default modes which are available to you. Sometimes they'll ask you what are the saving options which Spark provides to you. So you need to tell all these 4 options. Okay. Any questions, Rikia?
Sir, by default, it creates 3 part files or?
Again the same. So what is your understanding? Why it is creating 3 part files? Why it is creating 3?
Yes, sir. Actually, it is having magic 3 replication, that's why.
No. Replication is of blocks, right?
Yes.
So why 3 part files are created over here? And if you remember, I have given this assignment. You needed to find out from the Spark whatever like the code it has. So I told like to find out the function where it will take the default partition. I gave the assignment last week, but no one tried to. Again, like these are the things which will impact you. But again, like let's come back to the question. So why 3-part files?
By default, you have configured 3.
No,
Or maybe because of the block size.
I've
No,
already
it's not a block
I've
size.
already explained this, right? Yes, no. I think I'll have to convert this to an arbitrary.
Sir, I think the answer to this is there is no number defined.
There is no.
How many part files will be
Repartition is 3, that's
not
why.
declared.
But
By default, in our
No,
system, it is coming as 3.
I don't think so.
Sir, the default partition of HDFS is 3. That's what.
No.
Default partition is not 3. We haven't seen that, right? Default partition is 3.
No.
Can we see that? No, I guess.
No, sir. No.
So if I'm just trying to do this, and if I say read file dot get num partitions. Sorry, am I making some mistake? Read file get num partition.
QRDB should be not RDB.
Yes. First we need to go because this is a data frame, right? Sorry. In the last I was explaining you RDD. Now again, I am not convinced with the I know the answer. I'm purposely not saying this. Now let's go back to the RDD. If you remember, when we were trying to RDD, how many partitions we were getting? Can we recall how many we were getting?
4.
Arey bhai, 4, how come?
Three partitions.
Huh?
3 partitions.
3 partitions, no. When we were trying to see, what Irfan said was correct, but that was correct for parallelized collection method. Remember, Irfan?
Yes, sir.
So let's say RD, let's say
Because in HDFS it is having 4 partitions,
Yes,
2 part of the file.
yes.
And here it is showing 4.
Yeah.
On that basis.
So if you remember the last weeks when we were trying to see RDD sessions, when we were trying to create with the parallelize method, it was giving me 4 partitions. But when we were trying to read the data from HDFS, it was giving me 2 partitions. And that's where I gave the assignment. You need to find out from the source code what is the function, because dirsc. Okay, and if you see, there is one thing. So this is default parallelism. Let me copy this sc dot paste, and I think this. So default parallelism, how much it is giving me? 4. That's why when I was trying to create with a parallelized method, it was giving me 4 partitions, as rightly said by Irfan. But when I was trying to create an RDD from a file, it was how many partitions it was giving me?
3.
Again 3. sc dot text file. Okay. So file colon home save lfs data sets, and the file, what is the file name? txns, right? rdd dot get num partitions. How much we are getting last time, remember? And that's where I gave the question. You need to go to the source code and find out why I'm getting 4 and why because that's the function defined over there. Okay, so with the function, default parallelism is set to 4, but when it comes to reading the data from HDFS, the default is 2. Okay, now when I'm trying to create a data frame, this is data frame, right? Now if I'm trying to say read file, I will need to convert into to RDD and then get num partition, because there is no method which is available on top of data frame. That's why we need to go to RDD and then convert it to, now I'm getting 3. Now what is the difference in this? That's why I went back to that question. What was the difference between the RDD, and again you need to find out this first, then again the question will come over here. So there are two questions, one of Hassan about the spark struct, and this one, who asked this question? Vijay. Okay, so again, like you will have, means again, these two peoples, not only these two peoples, everyone has to do that. Again, it's your call. Okay, we need to find out why we are getting this 3 over here. It is a simple answer. Now also you can answer. It's a simple answer. No?
No, sir.
Okay, no issues. So I think this is already available in the recording. Okay, hunt this and try to find it out. What is the reason? Okay, first of all, find out the source code. That is very important. Okay, if you don't find out, maybe then next Saturday I'll try to give you the link. Then you can see that over here. Okay, so that these two questions are in parking of Hassan and Vijay. Any questions apart from that? Are we good? How we can read, how we can write, whatever the possible options are there. Are we good?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. If we are good, so I'll just comment this. As of now, I don't want to write. Okay. Now, if you have read the data from a file, okay, so when it is coming as a data frame to you, you need to select few columns. You need to write some transformations. Next Saturday, Sunday we'll be seeing. So how you can select columns. Okay. So there are various methods of writing. Okay. So if you want to write, let's say read file. If you want to, let's say, select a single column. So what you can write, select clause. What is the column name? Okay. What were the column? What is the file name? Transactions, right? Which we are trying to use. So I think we are available. So we have column, let's say, add -5 txns. So we have transaction date, transaction number, and transaction date. So I can just give transaction number, correct na, txnno. Okay, so I can just give transaction number over here, and I can just simply write show. And if you want to write truncate, of course, this is for a single column. Let's say if I want to read multiple column, what I can do is simply I can just specify transaction date and so on. Okay, if you want to select single column, if you want to select multiple column, it's way of writing thing. Okay, and again, like in this also we have different methods, like way of writing the code. Okay, so don't get confused. If you see in your projects or anywhere in the internet, here the syntax is different, there the syntax is different. Okay, they are writing techniques. So if you see, we selected 2 columns and here we selected 1 column. Now if I want, the same thing can be written in multiple ways. Let me copy this and let me paste this over here. What I can do is I can just remove this and I can just write my data frame name, that is nothing but read file, and whatever the column name is, let's say column name is date, I can write like this also. Let me copy this, and what I can do is I can just wrap a call keyword and I can just write transaction number here also. So I can write that like this also, I can write like this also, and I can write like this also. But for this call, we need to import this from PySpark.sql.functions. We need to import this call. That's the only addition you have to do. Okay, mostly I will be using this, but sometimes I might switch here and here, but again, it makes no difference. Okay, so let's execute and see whether all the 3 syntaxes are working or not. Whichever feels comfortable to you, moving ahead, whenever we are writing the code, you can follow those mechanisms. Okay, so to read the data from a particular column, you can use select. Again, next Saturday, Sunday, fully will be devoted to the transformation, and there will be a lot of learning over there, hopefully. So here, I'm able to get the data for all the things, whatever as well. So you can write like this, you can write like this, or you can write like this. It's your call. Okay? Are we good to clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are able to read the data, we are able to write the data. Let's say somewhat we are able to select the data, single column, multiple columns. We are able to see the different syntaxes, how we can write a select clause with the column name, call keyword, and the data frame dot column name. We have seen this. Now what if like we are presented with a nested data? So what if we are presented with the nested data? How to write the data? How to do that? Let's see that. Okay.
You have an XML?
No, I didn't said XML as of yet, right?
Okay, okay.
So I'm just cooking some dummy data which will be available with you. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cook some dummy data. Okay. So let's do. And here what I'm trying to do is, okay, so I'm trying to, and inside this again one, okay, and here comma comma and comma. So let's say I'm trying to say Saif and Sheikh. Okay, somewhat is I'm trying to, let's say this is first, let's say he is in Mumbai, and let's say the gender is, let's say, male. Okay, and what I will do, I will copy this, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, and finally the fifth record. I think these 5 records are sufficient. Okay, so I'll just take some random names. Ram S, sorry, so Ram S, let's say SHRL Shirali, he stays in Pune. I'm just trying to cook some data. Okay, and what we can do is, let's keep his last name as empty just to demonstrate some data. Okay, let's take one of my colleagues. So let's say Mitali. This is not this Mitali, okay, which is in the batch. So again, one of my friends. So Mitali, and then we have her last name is Kasha, and she's female. Again, she's staying in Pune. And we'll take few people from class. So let's say Hussein. I don't know his last name, so maybe what we can do is we can keep his first name and last name as quiet or blank. And let's take one more person name, and let's say Vijay. Again, I don't know his first name and last name, so I'm just what is the last name, Vijay? Verma. So I'll just trying to give. Okay, so let's say this person is in Hyderabad, this person is, let's say, in Bangalore. Okay, and both are male. So I've just cooked some dummy data. Let me copy this piece. Let's come over here. Okay, let's comment this everything. So let me just verify whether everything is commented. So let's scroll a little up. I think this needs to be commented. We don't need this. And the breakpoint, we don't need a breakpoint. So let's go a little up. Okay, everything is done. So now what we are trying to do, I have created the data. Okay, now I will be creating a nested schema for this. How I will create a nested schema? Let's understand this. Okay, so nested schema equals to, we know struct type, right? In struct type will be in the list. That's what I will be doing. Okay, so let me use struct field. Okay, so this will be, now if you see, this is one entire column, this is second column, and this is third column. In this entire column, okay, this is my first value, this is my second value, and this is my third value. So that's why here, understand it nicely, like how I'm trying to do this. Okay, again, like there will be so many scenarios which will come. So I'm trying to create a list. Okay, inside this list, now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to define this first. I'm trying to play with that. Okay, so it is like let's say I'll try to give name. Okay, and okay, so this entire column, let me Control C, comment this, and Control V. Okay, so I'm naming this entire as a name column. Okay, now after this, okay, what I am trying to do is, so I'll just remove this. Okay, so you know this, the first thing is I need a struct type. After that, for all the columns, I need struct field. But when I'm trying to give this entire column name as a struct field with the column name with the name, individually it has first name, middle name, and last name. So I need to give that. So what I am trying to do over here is, okay, so let me close this. So this is, now what I'm trying to define over here is, I'm trying to say one more struct type. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to define one more struct type. Inside that, I'm trying to define one more list. And here, I'm trying to say struct field, okay, struct field. And what are my columns name? The first column name is first name, okay, and the type is, let's say we'll go with one common type. Again, it's not a matter for now. True. Okay, let me say comma, control C, control V, control V. Remove this. Then I have middle name. Finally, I have last name, okay, and double quotes. So what I have done is, to this entire column, I have given a name. Inside that, I have three column names, that is first name and middle name and last name. Okay, so this I'm creating as a struct. Okay, done. This is done. Okay, so let's come out, and this will okay, and let me remove this as well. Now the remaining columns which were available, so that was like, let's say this is like location, and let's say this is gender. I'm just taking three columns. Okay, now again I will say struct, sorry, it should be struct field, right? I think one extra got closed, so this is getting closed. This is struct, and one more it's closed. So now I could say, oh, I'm not getting struct field. Okay, so let me just cross check. So okay, maybe like the ending one is missing. Okay, let's test this. First I'll write. So the second, the column name which I want to write is, what are the column names? I think first was name, and the second is gender. Sorry, location. So let's say location. The type is, let's say, string type, and let's say it is, let's say, true as well. And finally, the last column which I need is control C and control V. So that is nothing but my gender. Okay, and let me remove this column. Okay, and this is open over here, and this should get closed over here, because that is the entire stuff, right? That is getting closed over here. When I'm coming over here, so this is getting closed over here, okay, and this is getting closed over here, that is, and this is getting closed over here. Looks good to me. Okay, so I have defined a nested schema. Now what I will try to do is, data frame nested schema equals to spark dot create data frame. I need to pass two things. What is the first thing? The data. So data is in like data, okay, whatever name you have given, and nested schema, so not nested schema. Okay, and quickly we'll try to nested schema. Let's see the schema out of it, what we have created, and quickly we can preview the data also with an action that is nothing but show. Let's execute this. Let's see the output, then hopefully you should be able to understand. Okay, so it is telling me struct field is not defined. Have I not imported that? Yeah, because of that it was giving us the issue. Let's do that. Okay, let's scroll a little up. Okay, so this is the code. Let's execute this again. Can you see the data? The column name of the type, so the name which I have defined is a struct, because I used struct type. Okay, And under this name, I have 3 columns. And the normal column as location and string. And if you see the data, it is coming as a list. Okay. If you want to, again, like, don't worry, this is just a starting, because moving ahead we'll be seeing so many scenarios, and eventually you will get used to all this. And this is a very simple example. Moving ahead, we'll be lengthening it. Okay. Now, if we want to get the data for a particular column, okay, so let me scroll a little up. If you want to get the data for first name, or if you want to get the data for middle name, what you need to do, whenever you see a type struct, to access that you need to type parent dot child name whenever you see struct. And whenever you see array, moving ahead, you will be seeing array. At that moment of time, you need to explode the data. I will tell later. As of now, let's go ahead. Now what I'm trying to do is, from this nested schema, I am trying to select few columns. Okay, you can write in your own syntaxes however you feel comfortable with it. So name, let's say I want first name. Okay, then let's take the second column also. Let's say name dot last name. I'm just previewing 2 records. Two columns. Let's execute this. I'm just showing you how can we access the data of a struct type. That's where the idea behind this is. Okay, so I created the schema for a struct type, and you need to give parent dot child name. So it is telling me, so there is some issue. It is telling takes one positional argument. Okay, so I think this should have been closed over here. That's what I was missing. So let's re-execute this. Okay, just scroll a little up. So if you see, I'm able to get the data first name, I'm able to get the data last name from my list, which was available like this. Okay, for that the schema was like this. So whenever you see the type of struct, you need to give parent dot child name. Okay, for now this is sufficient to understand. Moving ahead, there are so many things which we will be coming. As of now, this is just an introduction. Okay, so are we, and again, like, one more thing, if you want to say, let's say select all the columns, you can just write select star also. Here if you just write select star, like how we write in SQL, let's do that. And let's select, and you just need to write star, nothing else. So it will select the entire data, like how we write in SQLs. In a similar fashion, here also we can do. Okay, so it is able to give me the entire data. Any questions till here? So how to create the struct type? Okay, nested schema. As of now, it's a very early stage, so I'm just showing simple things just to get you familiarity. Okay, this is what is this, this is what is that. Moving ahead, once we start writing the code, once we start doing the assignments, then you will get all the challenges, and that's where you will learn. And we will also create nested schemas, complex JSON, all will be taken slowly. Any questions here?
Sir, I didn't get the difference between array and struct.
Array and struct. Okay, so what is the definition of an array? It's an element of indexes, element of values. Okay, same type of elements. Okay,
Yes.
now when we talk about struct can have like again, let's keep this in parking, because I'll just give you a small overview. When we talk about struct, okay, so it can have a combination of columns, okay, but it cannot have like your nested again, like a nested different types of what you say is data structures. But when it comes to array, you can have anything. You can have multiple nested. So how I have written over here, so I can have nested, where it is, I have created it over here. Let's go a little up. So struct is nothing but it is like few columns or whatever it is available. But when you talk about an array, it can have your data structures also as a part of your row, as a part of your columns. So that's where we will be seeing the array. Now if you take the, let's take this, the example which I am trying to show is this. Now what will happen in this result? Okay, result will be an array. If you see in this, because this is a list, inside this you have one more structure. It is a data structure, dictionary, that is key value pair. Can you see this key value pair? And again, if you see, so this is kind of your data structure, which are nothing but your collections. You can have collections in your arrays, and we will see that later, just to give a small overview.
Okay.
But as of now, in just understanding what is it, means like how to play with the CSV files, how to read the file, header, delimiter, infer schema, how can I access the columns, what are the packages which needs to be imported as of now, and how the write modes functions. I am shown that only. We have not progressed. So are we good till here?
Yes.
I have one question. Like, if we write it to an XML file, will it go as a nested tag?
Yes. For again, like when we are trying to write in a nested, we are trying to write an XML, it will go in that manner only how we are trying to write, because we are not changing the writing mechanism, right? So whatever the data frame will consist, it will write the data.
Okay.
Okay. So let's take a quick break or resume the session. Okay, let me create a new Python file. So here I'll be explaining you, let's say, jobs. I'll be explaining you stages. I'll be explaining you tasks. Okay, exactly what happens at the backend. Okay, from PySpark. Okay, .sql. Let me import Spark session. I'm trying to create a main, and I'm trying to create my Spark object. From Spark session, build a function. Okay, then I'll try to set my master. Let's say I'm trying to use my local resources. Okay, because moving ahead, I'll be showing there is a yarn I have not shown. So there is a deployment mode, because that will be coming into picture with a Spark submit command. Okay, then the application name, let's say jobs, stages, task, and finally get a create method. Okay, so what I have done over here, I just instantiated my Spark object. Okay, which will be acting as my driver program when I will execute this piece of code, and this will be going to my driver. Okay, that's what I've done. Okay, cool. Now let's write a small program. Okay, I'm trying to write a small program over here. So let's say my data frame equals to, and I think you know this, so I'll not be explaining this now. I'm trying to read a file. Okay, spark.read.format. Okay, so the format is which I'm trying to use is CSV. Okay, so what we can do is, let's go to the new line so that the code looks good, or maybe like let's go into the single line. Let's say format is my CSV. Okay, and let's infer the stuffs what we have written. So I need to get my header, because I will be needing that header as through, and one more option that I will be using is to infer the schema, right, in a form of key value pair. So infer schema, and the value is again through, and finally what I will say is please load it. Okay, so after reading this, I'm trying to load the data. Now when I'm trying to load the data, I need to take the path. Okay, so I am taking a path that is nothing but file colon, okay, the path you all know now, /home, okay, home save lfs data sets, and I'm taking the same file. If you don't have file, by end of the session I will provide this file. Okay, so medical data or CSV. What will happen, this will read. I think the indentations are not appropriate, which I am feeling. Okay, so let's select this and put a tab. Okay, so with this what will happen, I will read the data from this medical data.csv, infer the schema and infer the header. No issues till here, right? Now let's say I'm trying to apply a filter clause. Okay, so I'm trying to say this is my filter, we all know. Okay, so as of now what I'm trying to do, simple. So let's say my earlier data frame is named my data frame. Okay, so I'm trying to apply a filter on my some column. Okay, I know that column, that's why I'm trying to use it exactly. So let's say age is less than 40, some filter clause I have written. Okay, after doing the filter, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to select few columns. Okay, so someone is not on mute, please be on mute. Don't do all these things. Okay, so I'm trying to select few columns from over here. Okay, so let's say age, country. Yeah, let's pick few columns. So from filter data frame. Okay, and don't worry now, as of now I'm trying to how I written this, because next Saturday Sunday fully devoted to this only. I will be explaining so many transformations, you will be getting like bombarded next week, so don't miss next week's session. So filter data frame. Okay, so let's say I'm trying to apply, so I'm trying to select, okay, few columns as I just showed. What you can do is you can use any of the three approaches. So as of now I'm just quickly writing with one of the approach. Okay, so age, I need gender, and let's take country and state. Few columns I'm taking from here and there, any random column to my mind which is coming. So I'm selecting, filtering the data, selecting it, and I'm just trying to apply a group data frame. Okay, few transformations I'm trying to apply just to make some sense out of this program. The earlier data frame, and I'm trying to apply a group by, and I'm trying to apply a group by on country. Okay, and finally I will try to count the data frame, count how many what it is. Okay, so group data frame dot count. Okay, and finally if you want to see count data frame dot show, it will just give me the count, nothing else. So show, that's it. And if you want to see the data from here, so group data frame dot show. Let's execute this and see whether this code is working or not, first of all. Okay, so a few things I have written. Don't worry about what I have written, what I have not written. The idea behind is not to explain you the code. The idea behind is to explain the job stages and tasks, how they gets created. Okay, so it is having some issue. So okay, group data frame, no issue. So I will try to do a collect. I'll remove this for the time being. As of now, that is not important to me. Okay, I got some data. Okay, whatever data I got some. I'm not interested in that also. Okay, now you don't know, like when a user like Saif is a user right now. So when Saif is trying to execute this program, the architecture which I showed you, when a user submits an application code, okay, what happens in the driver program? So the object which a Spark context create a driver program. When the driver program is getting created, okay, based on the transformation and actions, a DAG gets created. So unresolved logical plans which are there, they are optimized. Who does that? Internally DAG does that. Okay, so what DAG will do, it will create jobs, stages and tasks. How jobs get created? Whenever I'll show moving ahead, stages and tasks. Okay, how stages gets created, again we will see, and how action, what, all those things. Once the physical execution plan is getting created, what the driver program needs is, okay, now the driver program knows, when reading the data, it will come to know 3 partitions are getting created. So these 3 partitions need to be processed on the executor. So he need the resources. So whom it will go? It will go to the cluster manager. Cluster manager, he will negotiate for the resources, and cluster manager will say, okay driver, these are the executors which are there and you can go over there. So now what will Spark driver will do? Driver will communicate to your executors and the task will be getting processed. This is what we have seen in the architecture. Do we recall this?
Yes.
Okay. Now that was theoretical concept which we have seen architecture wise. Now we will try to present with the data how that DAG is getting initialized. Okay, that is what we are trying to. That is what I'm trying to show over here. Now, with my perspective, with my knowledge. Okay, so as I told a little while earlier, so this will create one job. This will create one job. Okay. Okay, now this is the program. Now what will happen is, okay, so this is the code. This is the application code which will be getting created or which I would be submitting. Okay, now let me take it over here. Okay, we'll take this. So now this will create one job. Okay, so I will spawn it and this will create one job. I will show you all this practically. Okay, this all will be creating one job. So how many jobs will be getting created? 3 jobs will be getting created. Now the question comes, how the jobs gets created. Okay, whenever an action is called, job is created. Okay, so do we understand this first point? Whenever an action is called, a job is created. Okay, each job will have stages and one stage will have at least one task. So how job gets created? Whenever an action is called. Okay, I will show that. Now how stages gets created? Based on your narrow and wide transformations, stages get created. Okay, so these are the important point which you'll have to remember. Okay, cool. Now what I'll try to do is 3 jobs are getting created. 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so let me spawn this. So this will, let's take this and let's take a good color. So this will create one job, this will create one job, and this will create one job. When it will do all this, when this action will be called. Till the time all my transformations will be sitting lazily. That's why Spark is lazily evaluated. Okay, because there is no action as of now. And here there is one group by which I have applied. If you remember group by, whether it is a narrow transformation or wide transformation,
It's a wide transformation.
beautiful, it's a wide transformation. Okay, so if wide transformations are available, your stages will be getting created. Okay, I will show that. Okay, as of now this is the user code. Okay, let me write this. So let's say this is the code which has been submitted, user code. These are the jobs which get created. Let's say jobs. So this was, let's say this is the second one, hopefully. So it's job 0, job 1. I should remove this, it's not a plural. And finally we have job 2. Okay, so we have job 0, job 1 and job 2. See, I'm just, as of now here also it's theoretical, just understand this. Okay, now let's go to the code. What we will try to do is, now when I'm trying to execute this, I'm trying to get this result, right? Now what I want is, whenever like you execute your code, as soon as your job is completed in your Spark architecture, what is the final step? Whenever the executor sends the data back to the driver, the resources are terminated and the application is terminated. Remember the last step of the Spark architecture?
Yes.
Okay, so here also when I'm trying to go when I'm trying to go to the localhost port 4040, you remember this port 4040, okay, as of now. Okay, so forget about this. This should not have been, okay. So this will be blank, okay, because it gets terminated. Now what we will do is, I hope this issue should not come because this should not be available. Should I clear the history? Just quickly, I'm just eradicating the history in just few minutes.
Sir, if we cache it, it's still available.
Yes, yes, yes. But I have not used any cache right now, right? Okay, so consider like this is blank. Okay, now we will try to see step by step what is happening. Okay, so what I will do is, for the time being, I will just Control X.
Sir,
Yeah.
I think the terminal is open and that's why it's showing 4040.
No. I'm not worried about that port 040. It should have been blank, because what happens is when a application gets terminated, because the application is completed, right? So this goes off. Sometimes this will behave weird, but that's okay. I'm not worried for that as of now. Let's.
Is it stop opening the
No. Forget about that. So let's close this and let's close this. Okay. Now what I will try to do, I will try to execute this. Okay. So what I will do, I will keep the execution in process so that I can demonstrate to you. For that, I'm just trying to put some dummy code. Okay. So if you remember this, if I want to take an input from a user, what we just try to say, we just say enter something, right? So that it will keep waiting for us, right? That's what we do in Python, right? So what I'm doing with this, I'm just holding the process. I'm not terminating the process. So let it get executed. And I think it is executed. I should have printed. Yeah, so now it is coming. So it is telling me enter something, but I will not do anything. Let me refresh this. This is, if you see this, why this is not doing some. No, not about history server, because I have got these issues in my previous batches also. That is okay, not an issue. Let me just go to here also. I'm trying to get the same thing. I will be able to, because I needed to show this explicitly step by step. Okay, so because here you will not be able to understand it appropriately, so which job is triggering what. Okay, but I know like this job is when it is going. Okay, so I think like what we can do is maybe like we can just so the event timeline. This is not required for me. Let's delete this. Completed jobs.
Sir, can we go to 18080 port?
1800.
Yeah. 18080
108080.
8080.
1080. Yeah. On the
This is
SQL
not the
again.
correct port. 8080 is a port which I recall, but again 8080 is for different. It's not for this.
Yeah, remove that SQL.
No. This port is not for Spark Web UI. Hopefully, we have 4040. It starts from 4040, 4041, something like that. Okay, let's go. Here I'm getting it. Okay, let's come back. Okay, now if you see, let's come back to the code which I was trying to show. Okay, so here. Now when I executed this, okay, so what is there inside my code? I only have a read method. Okay, so if you go over here, can you see load method? How many stages it created? One stage. How many tasks it created? One task. Let's go inside this. Okay, and click on this. So now it will be creating a DAG for you. Okay, if you just expand this, it will show you a DAG. Now it is of low level APIs, but again, like we don't need to understand that 100%, but we should get a relation of the code to this. Now what it is trying to do in the stage 0, as I told you, it is creating one job. We have seen that one job, under one job, one stage. So it is trying to do a scan of the file. Okay, and with the map partitions RDD, so it is trying to read the file. So can you see with this load method? So it is trying to read the file. What exactly is happening? It is trying to create one stage for a read process. What it's trying to do? Create. Okay, that is okay. That was expected, no issues. Now what we will try to do is, we will try to stop this execution. We will go over here and we will refresh this. See, this is what I was expecting in 4040, but sometimes it gives, that is okay. I am not worried about it. Now just uncomment this, copy this piece of code, now paste this over here. Okay, and let's remove this. Now how many jobs we are expecting? As I showed in the diagram, so we should get 2 jobs. One for reading the file, and I told you whenever you add infer schema, one extra job is triggered to scan the data and read the data again. Okay, let's go back and execute this piece again. Okay, let's come back, refresh this. If you see, 2 jobs got created. One is for read, one is for infer. Okay, again if you go inside this, okay, if you want to see like the DAG visualization, you can see the DAG visualization, and you see some deserialization to object it is happening. Okay, so when you are trying to, if you remember, I don't know that high video is covered or not, serialization concepts. What is serialization? Anyone knows what is serialization? Converting the Java objects to some internal binary bytes over the network. Do you remember or recall something like this?
Yes.
Okay, so opposite of that is deserialize. Now what it is trying to do, it is trying to read the data and it's converting to the objects. So that's where your scan is happening. Okay, so one stage is getting created. Who is this now? Ruby for Ice. Please do not pass any meeting link to anyone. Okay, hopefully I do not know that person. Okay, let's come back. So any questions till here? 2 jobs are getting created and 2 stages are getting created, and on each stage we are having one task for now. Okay, one is for reading the file and one is to infer the file, as I showed you in the diagram. Okay, yes, no?
Yes, sir.
So what we got one stage Okay, here also we got one stage.
Your voice is breaking.
I hope my voice is audible and voice is not fluctuating. So what I was saying is, in this small piece of code, one job is created to read the file and one job is created to infer the schema, and each is having one stage and each was having one task, right? Correct till here?
Yeah.
Now if you see, as I'm trying to apply a group by clause and an action, so something will happen. Okay, and what is that something? Let's understand that. For that, what we need to do is, we need to stop this execution. Yes, rightly said. And now what will happen? Now when I'm trying, I'll not show data frame dot show. So okay, you can, because it's a, I'll just,
Seth, your voice is breaking.
it's breaking now. I'm trying to execute this on an action. Okay, so what I will try to do, simply I will say, when I'm trying to do, so let's say count data frame, I will just say collect. Collect is also one of an action. Let me execute this program. Someone is not on mute, please be on mute so that the recording will not be disturbed. Okay, so I'm executing this piece of code. Now, as discussed, I'm expecting something. So there are some transformations which are happening. Okay, and I think I'll have to do some changes in the code, and I'll change it, don't worry. First, let me see whether that is popping up. Okay, and let's go back over here and we will try to now we will try to refresh it. Okay, so let's refresh this. Now see the difference. What is the difference you can see? A third job got created because there was an action called. Two stages were created, but how many tasks were created? Tasks are nothing but a partitions. 201. Why this is? Because the default partitions of Spark is, Spark has a default partition which is 200, right? That's why I'm getting. So I will just try to do some changes in the code and I will try to eradicate that. Okay, to make this example a better, and so that I can do those certain things. So I'm trying to do few things. Okay, so what I'm trying to do when I'm trying to read the data, after reading the data, I'm trying to say partition the say repartition the data. I think I did not explain the concept of repartition and collace to you all. So again, it's a small thing, don't worry. My data frame dot repartition. I'm trying to convert into two partitions. Okay, and also there is one more thing. Now after this only there will be two tasks will be created, but when this group by will get applied, there will be lots of shuffling happen, and again it can be scenarios. It may cause some degraded performance. Just to eradicate that, okay, just for this testing purpose, okay, what I am trying to do is I'm trying to control that to a behavior, and that behavior, what I'm trying to say is spark dot sql dot whatever the data which will be shuffling, which is nothing but the hash sort hash shuffle with the help of group by. I'm trying to control that. I'm trying to control partitions, and I'm training that only give me 2, not more than that. This is different. This is different. This is for shuffling. After applying a group by, how many partitions should I get? Okay, that is different. This is different. This is different. It means like when I'm trying to read the file, I need to get only 2 partitions. Are we able to understand the difference between this? You will get to know. Okay. Yeah. You once I show you the stages, etc. Let me I need to change few things. Okay. So I need to pass this now over here. I don't need to pass my actual data frame, which will have 200 partitions. Let's go over here. Let's wait. Saurabh, it might get extended till a little 11:20. So again, like few topics means like, but again, if you want to leave, you can leave. but again, like, recordings will be provided. So I'll just complete this and wind it off. Okay, so if you see over here, now let me refresh this. Okay, now if you see what happened, one is for reading, one is for inferring the schema, and one job is to apply the transformation and actions. And how many stages are getting created? 3 stages are getting created. And how these 3 stages are created? And in these 3 stages, there are how many tasks? 5 tasks. So if we go over here, so 1 stage, 2 stage, and 3 stage. Okay, 3 stages are getting created. Now if I click on this, okay, now if you see in this each stage, okay, now when it is trying to see the input is this, there is some shuffle happening. Can you see this shuffle read, shuffle write? Okay, when the data was read, after that I have applied repartition as a 2. You remember? So I am getting only 2 partitions. Can you see 2 partitions? Can you see 2 tasks are getting created? And 1 task. That's why 3 tasks are getting created. Now you can go in each stage, okay, and if you want to identify what it is going, what it is not going, you can go. So if you see here, some shuffle is happening. Okay, that's how you'll have to identify what exactly is happening in this shuffle, how many, what time is taken, what is the part of the date, how many tasks are being getting processed, okay, what are the shuffle records, what is the time taken, what was the launch, on which host it is going, etc, etc. Now the idea is, I need to explain you. I was straight away understanding this job, and I was straight away understanding this job, because it was straightforward. Not this, sorry, here I was able to understand these 2 jobs. But here, when this job is getting executed, how 3 stages are getting created and what this is, I'm not able to understand that. Okay, let's take in a scenario that. Okay, now to understand that, we need to understand the code which we have written. Okay, so this is the code which we have written. Okay, one is filter. Okay, one is after filter, what it is there, sorry, this will also be a part of this. Okay, so I have written something, or you can take your action also, because that is invoking the 3rd job, right? And this is the 2nd job, 1st job. Now if you might not know this because I have not explained. Okay, repartition is a white transformation, so it will create one more stage. Group by is a white transformation, so it will create one more stage. So how many stages are getting created? 2 stages are getting created. How many stages are getting created? 2 stages are getting created. So what will happen is, okay, I hope like you are clear for job 0 and job 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Now when we are trying to call the entire code, okay, when this action is called, sorry, show, okay, there is a repartition which I applied, there is a group by which is applied. Okay, now let's understand that piece of code, how that code is there and what it is invoking. So you can resemble this code which I am trying to show you. Okay, before that there is a repartition, etc. Okay, now if I take, or let me take the screenshot from here. Let me take the screenshot from here. Okay, let's copy this. Let's paste this. Now we will be focusing on job 3rd, because which is our priority. Okay, so what will happen in this? Okay, what will happen in this? First, repartition is a white transformation, right? As I said earlier, repartition is a white transformation, right? So it will create one stage. Okay, if you see in the code, there is repartition, so one stage got created. So means like there is a stage got created. There is one more group by, which is a white transformation. Okay, so one more stage got created. Okay, and the rest what it is was there, it was available in one stage. So three stages, how three stages are getting created, this is how. Let's try to understand that with a code. Okay, so let's say this is my stage. Can I say this? So let's say this is 1, this is 2, this is stage 3. Ideally indexing starts from 0. So let's take this is stage 0 or whatever, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 and stage 4. You can just take it, okay, nothing else. So now we need to focus on stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. So now stage 2, stage 3 and stage 4. Okay, as I told you, the code which is submitted over here, so this is the code which is creating the 3 stages. Where it is creating 3 stages? In my web UI. Okay, how many stages are getting? It is getting 3 stages. And if you see in these 3 stages, okay, so I have 1 task, 2 tasks, 2 tasks. So one is for the read, because after, sorry, one will be for write. So if you see, not here, let's come back. As soon as I read the code, what I have applied? I have applied repartition, right? If you see, I have applied repartition. So what will happen? One stage will be created and that stage will be for repartition. So let me write that. Are we clear till here? One stage is getting for repartition.
Yes.
Okay, cool. The code is moving ahead. Okay, the code is moving ahead. So it has like a where clause, it has a select clause. As soon as it encounters one more transformation, and which is this type of transformation?
White.
Beautiful. And which are these two above transformations?
Narrow.
Beautiful. Simple. Narrow. So whenever I have written it here somewhere, right? So whenever an action is called job is created, based on your narrow and wide transformation, what it is getting created? Stages are getting created. Let's come back over here. This was a wide transformation. This was a wide transformation, so a stage got created. These were narrow transformations, so it was going smoothly in this stage. What was that? One was filter. Okay, after that, what it was? Where? As soon it encounters group by, it came to know, no, this is not narrow. What it is this? This is wide transformation. So what it did? For this, one stage got created, which was 2. Then one more stage for these 2, 3. As soon as one more wide transformation, one more stage got created, and hence we are getting one more thing is like, no, sorry, I should have written my mistake. So as soon as like your group by, which is nothing but your wide transformation, it encounters, it creates a new stage. And finally, what the final stuff it will be happening is, it will be simply having whatever your count. Sorry, I missed your count. So my 3 stages are getting created based on narrow transformation or wide transformation. So are we clear how stages gets created?
So sir, when it reads filter df, then it do not create any transformation until unless it finds a group by.
It does not create transformations. No, it does not create transformations. It does not create stages. Yes. Till the time it is part of narrow transformation, it will go in 1. As soon as it encounters wide transformation, immediately it will spawn a new stage.
Okay, what if suppose there was no group by and we had counted directly?
So everything will be fallen into 1. Until unless you are not getting wide, so you are not getting anything.
Because we were saying that whenever we will do a count action, there will be a new stage.
I did not say that. I said whenever a action is called, jobs get created.
Okay.
So when I executed this, so this was the action. which was collect. Count is not an action.
Okay.
Collect is an action. Based on collect, these jobs are getting spawned, right?
Okay.
Then further I'm trying to explain stages. So I explained you this first part. Now I'm explaining the second part, how stages are getting created based on narrow and wide transformation. Got it? Yes or no?
Narrow transformation also creates a state, right?
So here I have one stage now.
So how many narrow transformation can go in a state, because
that is not based on like how many narrow transformation can fit and it can fit again, like that is as per the code. So it depends, like if you're writing multiple chain transformation, it will all fit into one stage.
So after goodbye there will have been another white transformation, so it will create another S5, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So now when it was reading the file, it was one read and it was two writes, right? Yes, no? See, what was happening before this code? I was reading the file, right?
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying now. It was one read. After doing repartition, what was happening? Two tasks were getting created, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm explaining. Right? That's what we should see over here. Okay, let's go inside this. Let's minimize this. Let's scroll a little down. Okay, and let's minimize this, and let's minimize this. This is not, VM is like little trouble. So let's go over here. Okay, so if you see, this is when I'm trying to read. Okay, after that, two partitions are happening. Can you see these two tasks getting created? That's what I've done over here. So here I'm trying to get two partitions after this. So are we able to understand this piece? So now what will happen? Your data will be processed parallelly over here in these two tasks. Okay. So it will have where clause, it will have select clause, and it will have group by clause. Same here, it will have where clause, it will have select clause, and it will have group clause. So whenever it reads the data, it is called read exchange. Whenever it is writing, it is called write exchange. So here read exchange will happen and here write exchange will happen. Me on mute once you ask the question, because people complain me about the its voice are getting like, again, like, let's be okay. So read exchange, write exchange. Okay, so here this is happening, but this is happening in parallel. So these two tasks are processing in parallel. So parallel execution is happening. Okay, as soon as I am done, so what it is happening, so here also two tasks are being written, and finally the data is being collected from these two people, or these two tasks to be precise, and the data is being sent to the driver. Okay, so if you see the two tasks, and finally it was read and it was given to your final stuff. That's how your jobs stages are getting instantiated when an action is called. So just to iterate again, whenever an action is called, jobs are created. And okay, and how stages are created? Based on your narrow transformation and wide transformation, stages are created. Now you will ask me how tasks are created. Tasks are not created. Tasks are, by default, it has 200 partitions. So based on, like, if you remember what I did, I gave the partition to 2. I repartitioned that. just to show you a good example. Otherwise, to demonstrate 201, it would have been like very difficult for me. So what I did, I told, after reading the file, after doing a repartition, which is one of the white transformation, I need only 2 partitions. That's why I was getting 2 partition data, and it was getting processed parallelly in stage 3 and stage 4, and finally the data was sent to the driver program, which was a collect action. So this is how, at the background, your spawning of jobs, stages and tasks happens. Okay, so are we able to understand this? So let me stop this. So in interviews, they will ask you all these things. So you should be able to defend everything. So any questions? Yes, Hussein. Your voice is low.
The action calling a job, right?
No, yes. Whenever you call an action,
Yes.
okay, so let me go to the previous slide. Okay, so see, what was happened here, action was called. So what happened? So read was the action, right? So this was reading the data.
Yeah.
It was inferring the schema. And when a collect action, show action was called, this happened.
The action is if you are reading and read is an action. So action returns like a data frame. Okay.
See, data frame is different and read is different. So you are trying to mix 2 things.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah. So why you're confused? Because you're trying to mix your code. See, spark.read.format, what it is creating? It is creating a data frame, right?
Yeah.
If you go to spark sc.text file, for this also you will have a tag, which I
Yes.
did not show. So here you are creating an RDD, right?
Yes.
So you are mixing 2 things. You're mixing data frame and the tag. Do not mix that. So spark.read.format, yes, this for reading it has to go to certain place. So this is one of the action, and hence one job is getting created.
Okay.
Good with dot read. Dot read is a method which is one of the action, and that will spawn one job. That is nothing but this. That's what we have seen. Remember, for the first time, when I showed only with the 2 line, this and a load method, it was going to this file and it was spawning this, right? Yeah.
Sir, like the select and the group by, although select is a read only, but why does it come write exchange?
Where it is select, in which screen you are talking about?
Where you had showed, right? This filter.
Okay.
Coming as a right exchange, right? Although the transformation which is
Where it is a right stream. See, right stream, it is nothing but, see, entirely this is still getting processed. It has not written anywhere. When it is trying to do in the stages, it has to pass the data, intermediate data for getting the entire data. Will it do like only it will send the half the data? Your results will not be correct, right? This is an inside your stage, what is read and write happening between your stages, not your external file systems.
Okay, within from this stage it's writing to new stage, that's why
Because
right exchange.
new stage needs to have data, so it is taking from this.
Okay.
Don't mix. I know it is a little confusing, but don't worry, you will eventually get it. Slowly you will get it. This is very early. Okay? But at least like even 30-40% also you got, I'm happy with it, because as soon as the topic will get progress, we'll give you assignments, you will get a hang. Yeah, any questions?
Sir, you have mentioned your show, right? I mean, count there for show. And also in one of the code you have mentioned collect.
Okay, the difference between collect and show is, okay, collect is a utility which is available from your RDDs, okay, and show is a method which is available on your data frame. So what collect does is, okay, it sends the data to the driver, but what show will do is, show will display the data on your console, and both are actions. But what happens is, internally when you use collect, okay, it use your low level APIs, okay, which is nothing but RDDs. when it's come to show is available in data frame, so it uses high level APIs. That's the only difference, nothing else.
But in data frame you have used collect. Will that work?
Yeah, I can use, it's not a problem. If it is available, I can, because see, this is one of the action, right? I can use here also, I can use here also. Whatever is available, it's not that it is available here, so I cannot use. If it is not available there, then I won't be able to use. But if it is available, I can surely use, right? So it is available with both people.
Okay. Because why? Because earlier you were trying to convert the data frame to RDB, and then you were able to see the type, right? So I mean I was a bit confused in that.
No. Collect is available. So that is an action, which is. Any questions? Yeah.
Sir, number of partitions.
Number of partitions?
Number of tasks depends on the number of partitions.
Yes, Sagar. Whatever the partitions which we are trying to create, so that will be tasks getting created. Now that number of tasks gets created. So partitions are equivalent to your task. And there is another words also like slots, cores, slots or threads also. So partitions are equivalent to your tasks.
Okay.
Yeah. Any question?
Can you go to the another diagram which you showed?
So this too?
Yeah, this the red one. So in this, what you telling that that as soon as this new partition comes, it's partitioning in two things, two tasks.
Yeah.
And these two tasks then creating new session or
No. See, these two are tasks which will process your data. Okay. So it needs to be processed. So after repartition, what it will happen? Earlier I was getting 200 partitions, right? I made it to 2. Now what will happen? These 2 partitions will be passed to filter. So now what filter will do? It will apply age less than equals to 40. So here also one partition. Distributed processing cluster framework, that is a Spark. So if I wouldn't have given 2, so in 200 tasks parallel execution would have happened. That's where like huge data processing becomes simpler.
Let's suppose you have again put it here repartitioning again, then it will create a quota.
So let's say after this, okay, let's say after this you created one repartition, okay. So after this, let's say one more stage will be getting created, and how many you want? 5?
2 more, 4.
4. So let's say here 4. So after this, what will happen? It will here repartition will come and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will read 4 partitions.
And then it will be fast processing and all those stuff will be there like that.
Yeah, parallel processing will happen in all those. Afterwards, whatever the code is there, it will try to execute in those.
Okay. And how they are, in the end, they will be terminated, all those tasks.
Yeah, finally, if you remember the Spark architecture, it will, when the data is being sent to the driver, right? Collected. So it means like the data, you are ending it, right?
Okay.
So once it is end, all these resources are released. Yeah.
Just one question here.
Yeah.
So, as you said, the partition is if we are defining size 2, so the two parts of the partition will created, right?
Okay.
So, based on some of the data, how it will decide like how the portion or which part of data?
Where it is reading the data from HDFS file system, right?
Yeah.
What is the block size?
128.
So you how much data, how much MB data will you have in these partitions?
That's still I got that the size based on the size it will read the partition.
Right?
128.
Yeah. So these partitions are nothing but your data which are being read from HDFS file system, and an HDFS has a 128 MB size block, right? So each block will have 128 MB of data.
Okay, if the data is less than 128, suppose there is the size.
Let's say 4 KB.
Yeah.
It can happen like 2 KB sit over here or 2 KB sit over here.
So earlier you said that is based on the total default partition size 128, and then it will partition in two parts, right? On that data is itself very less than 128 MB.
Right.
On that case, will it create a two partition, or it will be a single?
It can happen single also. The other one will be like not occupied. I'm just trying to say a small example. Let's say like 100 KB. It can happen that this entire partition is processing your entire 100 KB of data. So other is sitting idle. We cannot do anything, right? So at that moment of time, like it's your like the data is less.
So you meant to say if we have defined two, then the default two will be created, but yes, might be the second we don't have any data.
Right, based on the actual data.
Okay.
Again, you are trying to mix two concepts. So that is different. That is different. So partitions as a task is different, and data as a size is different. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You will be sharing this code also, right? I mean, the one which are there in Python.
Moving ahead, no codes will be shared. I'm sharing the recordings, right? I want you to write the codes.
No, you explain this different types of. I mean, you go to the Python in the machine.
Yeah, sure.
Is a screenshot you will share, sir?
Everything is available in this now, so you can just demonstrate the video and you'll have to write the code. I won't share any code because code sharing, I don't want you to make handicap. Wherever you are getting stuck, I will be always there to help. Why do you want the code? You want to do copy paste? I don't want that. As a trainer, I don't entertain that. Write the code. Wherever you are getting stuck, share the screenshot. I will always help. Don't worry.
So sir, if the data is coming more than
let me answer one by one. So I don't know who was that. So does that answer your question, sir?
Yes.
Please write the code. See, for me, sharing is not a big concern. What I'll do, I'll just copy and paste. What you will do, you will copy the code and execute it, right? That's what 100% it will happen that. I don't want that. I want you to write. I want you to sit on your laptop. I want to open your virtual machine and I want you to write this code and I want you to experiment. Then only you will learn. Okay?
Yes,
Yeah. Wherever you are getting stuck, WhatsApp is always available. Don't worry. I will not run away. Okay. Someone was asking. So what I'll do, I'll stop the recording. Okay? Or should I continue in this? Let's have questions also. Yeah.
So sir, if the data is more than, suppose we have repartition to 2 and data around the...
Okay, I got a question. Yeah. That's where the concepts will come of like when the data is not fitting into memory, the data will be spilled to your disk. So it will be in a waiting process. If you remember the Spark architecture, there I had clearly said, I think it was 8th or 9th point, Spark will schedule future tasks. Now, as of now, if you see these two tasks are getting processed, but the data size is huge. So what it will do, it will schedule the task. As soon as that it get completed, it will send the new task. That's where your question is coming.
Yes, so those partitions will get empty and it will be different.
No. It will not be empty. See, now let's take an example here. Okay. Now, these two partitions are getting processed and driver is having more data to process. So it knows how many partitions are, let's say it knows like 10 partitions are to be processed. So as of now, how many are processing? 2. Once this is complete and set, again it will send 2 because it schedules and maintains future tasks. Once it is completed, again it will send next 2 and so on. if that size is not fitting. But again, I have taken a very small cluster, but in real time it will be a huge. Okay. So there is an option of like persist. You can persist the data in memory in your disk. So when it does not fits into memory, so the data is like hold it, okay, into disk for further processing. That's where your Spark will come, and it will happen all internally. And there is one property which will come into picture: Spark dot dynamic dot resource allocation. Sometimes what will happen, today I'm getting 1 GB, today I'm getting, let's say, 10 GB, but tomorrow I'm getting 1 GB. Automatically it will decide how many number of partitions to get processed for the 10 GB and 1 GB. If it is 1 GB, maybe like 8. If it is 10 GB, let's say 80. It will automatically decide that. So does that answer you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Any questions? I'll stop the record.